Oh, geez, we're rolling right into that music, huh? We're getting it. But it's Monday. It's hot. It's fresh. It's toasty. It's feeling good, folks. It is February, what is it? 16! February! It's not like it just changed. Shut up, tomato. Sorry. That's the dementia kicking in. It's a little early, but I forgot it was February, to be honest. I woke up this morning, and I was like, wait, hold up. We're halfway through the second month of 2026. I still make the mistake of 2024. Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I've never been good about getting the date right. Back when I was in school, there would constantly be those times on the test. Remember when we used to do written tests? Remember handwriting? A lot of you still use it, to be honest. That's just me. I'd put the date up on that little line, the second line next to your name, and I'd always be wrong for like the first 5 months of every year. And as I've gotten older, not even that old yet, I think I'm 33. Why? Why must the year change? Maybe we could slow it down. I don't know, that was just bothering me this morning. But I like I said, I woke up and it's February. I don't know how many of you are living in a cold place. I'm sorry if you are. It's not particularly cold here. We've been having a nice couple last weeks, but it is officially back to rainy season outside, so it's quite wet and soggy, and it feels not February. My voice doesn't match a little. Are you trying to say I don't look like the space tomato you know? Actually, I'm realizing that the reward bar is still not updating, Mrs. Tomat. If we could try and figure out what's going on with that. I cannot do that right now, but we might need to replace that entire bar with something that actually does react and just reset the whole commands if we could do that during the stream, just so that we have that all set up. Hello, Space Toes. What's up, Radar Echo? How you doing? Anybody else is surprised that it was February today? Is that just me? Hope you didn't miss February 14th. No, didn't miss that. We actually had a great time February 14th. We went, we have a little tradition. We got a nearby city. We don't live that far from the snow. A lot of people are like, what? Snow? In California? Yeah, you bet. We live probably an hour and a half away from the snow. So every Valentine's Day, we like to go up there and touch snow. To be honest, touching snow is like the more concentrated version of touching grass. If you touch snow, you are alleviated of your responsibilities to touch grass for at least 6 months. This is a great way to allow yourself to become a cave-dwelling gamer for most of the year, and then just come out of hibernation in the winter. You know, you got to backwards a little bit, touch some snow, and then slink back away into the basement. You don't have to do anything else. It's nice. It's cool. So we did that, and that was good fun. We went to a classic diner, one I've been going to for my entire life, and I realized that it is no longer the diner that I knew my entire life, and I probably won't be going back there. Their fries suck, man. I'm sorry if anybody who works at that diner is watching this stream. That would be incredible. The absolute craziest coincidence I think I've ever... They're just like sitting there like, wait a second, I recognize that guy. No, it is a bummer. Because it's not like it's not bad food. The fish and chips was pretty bad. But it sucks, dude. It sucks to know a place that you've always gone to, and then you finally, you just have to accept that it's not that place anymore. We've all had that. We've all been there. I get it. We find new places, right? I'm sitting here thinking, I haven't even, like, the place that actually, that place itself is a place that I first went with my dad, right? But I went with my dad when I was like 7. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, my kid's not even born yet. I got plenty of places to come up with more places, or plenty of time, which is exciting. By the way, you guys want to know what the gender of our kid is? Because we found out! Yeah! It's a lot of fun. I got the video here if you guys want to see it. Hold on. Mrs. Tomato made a video for everybody. Wait, I don't have that video. Where can I pull that up? I think you're gonna need to send that one to me. This seems strangely allegorical. PK, Mr. PKP. You're done for about 2 years at this point. Oof, dude. Yeah. Well, if you live in a place where it snows, it's a little different. At that point, it's the grass part that you gotta focus on. Hey, Mr. Fola, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you in chat. I didn't say any of my hellos today. Sorry, we're taking a little extra time to get started. It's a good feeling Monday, okay? Not incredibly high energy. It didn't blow your ears out for 10 minutes straight, but I don't know. It's raining outside in February. It feels like middle of December, but that makes it homey. I think actually it's because my mother-in-law's here. Mrs. Tomato's mother has visited us. Kind of a surprise. Came out of nowhere. Honestly, if you know how our last 8 months have gone, you know that this is a huge turn of situation for our family, and it's felt like a blessing. So I think maybe I'm on that kind of high. Audio seems out of sync to you. Did it fix it all? I tried to do the voice a little bit, make it better for you. Make a streamathon about it. About the cherry tomate. Just a whole freaking streamathon just to reveal. No, I'm just getting that video from Mrs. Tomato. Hey, thank you for the congratulations, Banana Split. Why the name Squirrel Bait, you may ask? Because you must be nuts to be playing space games at the age of 81, dude. Yes. Yes. Can I hear it for Squirrel Bait? I love it. Why? Must be nuts. My audio is out of sync. Okay, let me try another fix then. Let me go positive 500 milliseconds. Let's see if this does anything for you guys. Let me know. Let me know. Oh, you could just send it to me on Discord. I'll just play it from there. That works. Bon tarde. A little space tomato. Now you have another turret gunner. Dude, that's... yeah. It's great, isn't it? I know that my account is going to go to use after I'm dead and gone. Oh, it's synced. Hey, nice. Okay, so we had to go... I was delaying my own voice. Negative 200, so I just went positive 300. We love finding solutions to problems, everyone. Yeah. Tech issues. Good job, chat. We got that. Is it there's been no like message of the day, obviously. There's been no what's happening this week. Yes. So I've got a couple topics I want to talk about today. We are going to be looking at, well, obviously the ongoings currently. This is the Love Me Maybe, I think it's called, contest. I think actually this is done. This is a photo contest which probably ended... When does this end? Before you start your submissions, read the contest rules. Contest rules. Let's see. Because there's another thing starting this week that I've completely forgot is happening. The Red Festival. March 9th. Notification of winnings. Determination of winning by March 9th. Ba-da-ba. Participation and entry. Dude. Duration. Beginning, ending February 23rd. Okay, so this is all just going with the free fly then? Is that it? Because the free fly goes to the 23rd, yeah? Yes. Hey, yes. Okay, so it ends this week. And then they're going to start the Lunar Festival this week. They are f***ing rolling, guys. It's kind of crazy. So we're going to talk about what that means. But we're also going to talk about a little exchange that happened here on Spectrum over the weekend with your boy Yogi, who does a lot to answer stuff from the community, and I think has been a blessing when it comes to communication. And he has a really difficult job of figuring out a flight model in a game that relies heavily on a flight model when he was not originally doing flight model stuff. And I think he's done a good job so far in at least figuring out what works and what doesn't. Either way, he gave an answer here to somebody's questions about the flight controls and gave some answers that obviously spawned some more discussion, as any answer on Spectrum usually does. And I think the discussion was interesting because it kind of points to one of the difficulties of following Star Citizen, and that is that things are always soon. So I wanted to have a little bit of a longer discussion about that later. I also have here a good old deep dive. Not really going to be a full deep dive, kind of a mini deep dive on The Expanse with Cyrus Reborn. I'm really excited for this game, and there has been some interesting information coming out about it over the last couple months that they actually reveal like on their Twitter, not officially. So I thought we could go over some of that and do kind of like an introduction to The Expanse, so I can finally stop dabbling in it and start just doing a series of coverage on it, because I do think it's getting closer. I guess it's not going to come out this year. Sad face. But we'll be talking about that a little bit today. And then if we do have the time, toes. I did want to touch on something. Not chairs. That's an ad. Ignore that. Ashes of Creation. I'm not really the kind of person who just wants to jump in on discussing? We'll go with it. Discussing another game just because it's another game. But I've been listening to this story in like a lot of detail. There's a lot of details coming out about this. One of the investors has opened up and talked a lot about it. And oh man. Look, I know that like if you're here in this chat, you know the differences between what happened to this game and Star Citizen, but I also know a lot of people aren't going to go into every detail about what happened to this game, and a lot of folks are going to try and attribute what happened to this game to the same situation as Star Citizen, and they're very different. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. That being said, we'll see if we get there. For now, you gave me the most complicated way to do this, man. We've really got to get you a Windows PC, Mrs. T. Does that make it a moist conversation? Depends on how much sweat and salt we get in the chat. You want to be squirrel bait when you grow up. Okay. It's good. It's good. That's what we call a fola in the chat right there. Wife is pregnant with your second, so you have a gunner on the top and bottom of your MSR. Oh, dude, that's sick. Well, then get her one. Listen. Listen, buddy. All right, I'm gonna release my video. Look at this. Look at this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hold on. Look at this. Weird alien. Hey, man. Thank you for the super chats there. Or I'm sorry, no, those are subs. My friend dropped the subs. That's Toes Gang energy. That's what the kids say. The kids say that, right? Right? The kids talk about Toes Gang these days. That's totally a thing. Thank you, my... I should have cleaned this. What do I do? It's literally just gonna mess up the. I'm sorry, Sock. Look at this! Is this not a sales pitch for the sock? Huh? It makes a great eraser. Come on.
Excuse me?
Can you watch this?
Sir!
It's Weird Alien.
What the hell?
It was Weird Alien. He did it.
Well, PK says hi.
Ah! Oh, Jesus! Ow! Inappropriate.
With love from PK.
Anyways, thank you, Weird Alien. That's all I was trying to get to.
In the
Hmm?
I uploaded the
Sheesh. What a mess. Now there's a foot. My art sucks. Okay, let's get back to what we were doing. I was going to tell you guys the gender of our baby. Thank you, Weird Alien, for that. And what I was going to do before I did that was actually show you that I have a video scheduled to release. Don't I? Dude, it's not even showing it. Hold on. Public latest. No, it's not showing it. Okay. Well, I have a video scheduled to release this week that is showing that my computer cannot run this game in VR. So that's our goal right now. Anyways, hey now, come on. You can't cheer on me getting shot, okay? That's violence and racist. Let me show you this video, guys. It's a good time. It's a happy time. Check it out. It's our baby's gender reveal. Hey. Happy birthday.
How's it going?
We got presents for
God.
you.
Oh my god. Yes! Oh my god, it was so good.
Our close friends and family knew already, but we just announced it to our community and to the world yesterday. And today, we just got our test results back. Keenan's about to get off the stream and we're about to find out if the baby is a boy or girl. I think it's a boy. I've thought that it was a boy since the beginning. I've had 3 dreams that I had a son. Keenan thinks it's a girl. My mom thinks it's a girl. Dora thinks it's a girl. My brother thinks it's a girl. My sister-in-law thinks it's a boy. Everybody thinks it's a girl because I've been so sick. But you never know. I posted a poll on the stream to ask chat what they think it is. Majority of people think it's a boy. Since I'm a woman, I only have the X chromosome. If Y chromosome is detected in my blood, then the baby's a boy. If Y chromosome is not detected in my blood, then the baby's a girl. I'm so excited. Let's go find out.
Do it.
You do it.
One, 2, 3. That's my boy. So we're having a baby boy, guys. And God, I'm tearing up on camera. What is this? So yes, we have a little baby boy coming on the way, little cherry tomat. And later this year, he will be joining us and will be playing Squadron 42 before me. I'm gonna put the controller in his little stupid baby hands, and that's gonna be it's gonna be an exciting year for us, and excited to have that journey, to share with you guys how it goes, and talk about it here and there. We're not going to be the kind of people who are like bringing the baby on camera all the time and stuff like that. But as part of the community, you'll obviously be hearing about the little cherry all the time, just like with our niece. And yeah. Also, if you like follow Mrs. Tomato on Instagram, she posts a lot about what is going on. So, you know, if you do want to follow along, you can there. We just aren't going to inundate Star Citizen content with that kind of stuff. Get used to crying. You got 2 girls and you cry daily. Wasn't remotely a cry before kids. I'll tell you what, dude. I will tell you what. I learned it with my niece. I'm guessing it's gonna get so much more common with my own kid. But yeah, it's a good time. Hey, Banana Split. Thank you for gifting out a sub, my friend. Appreciate you. Much love to you. Much love and good energies. Discord, get out of the way. I can't see what's going on YouTube. YouTube! Thank you, guys. Thank you for the congrats. Okay. So. Now. The news, yes? Is his middle name Tomat? No, that's his first name, sir. His first name is Tomat. His last name is On the Vine. I am Space Tomato on the Vine, and she is Mrs. Tomato on the Vine. Legal names. Don't steal our identities, please. Congrats! This brings back emotions from both times you found out the gender of your 2-year-old. Thank you very much. Most annoying, stressful, pain in the rear things you ever dealt with. Wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm excited for it, sir. Colt! The Colt! Mr. Colt Kimber. Thank you for gifting out some subs to the folks. Never cry, it shows weakness. If you cry, you will be sacrificed at the altar. Mr. Colt Kimber's going on the toes, gang, before we get started today. I didn't get shot this time. Dude, it's like Pavlov's chalkboard. One time I got shot, now I'm like, Jesus. Tony Tomato. That's actually that's a good one. I like that. Okay, let's get to it. I want to talk about this thing with Yogi first. Thank you for the congrats, Space Guy. Hey, and Danger Hobo with the bits. Appreciate you, dude. So, over the weekend, we got this little question you do on Spectrum, as we do. Talking about the release of the Moth, and another muddy handling of flight controls in the presence of 2 occupied flight seats. He said he suggests it is high time for a key binding to assert flight control while in a capable seat. It actually is really funny when you're sitting in the pilot seat. The co-pilot, like if they sit in their seat, I think first or second, it's one way or the other. They can take control of the ship, but not to the point where they can fly. It's just that you can't fly. So you're screwed up. Now, C-Wing, thanks for the post, buddy, made the suggestions when you press the button, standard handoff. A 5-second flight control transfer is initiated. After 5 seconds, full flight control is switched to the seat you are currently in. Any other seat that has control is notified and given 5 seconds to reject the control transfer. If the transfer is uncontested, then control is removed. When you long press the button, you take emergency control after 1 second. Any other seat that has control removed has 1 minute to reverse the control transfer without resistance. So it's a handshake, handoff kind of idea. He wants to make it so that you can fly the ship from either seat, which would be beneficial. I don't think that's a bad idea. This is all pointing towards just better multi-crew gameplay in general. Now, Yogi, who, like I said, is a big part of the flight controls, he also is a big part of the push towards VR working. He's a big DCS fan. He does a lot of immersive stuff. So that's all his realm of interest, and is a company driven by passion. So a lot of the people in their positions are driven there by the passion. He answered, he said, hey, the topic, said that like Outcast a little bit. Yeah, Outcast. I almost thought Black Eyed Peas for, sorry. The topic of co-pilot seats and what those seats can actually do comes up quite often. Right now, we're somewhat limited what we can do as we have a static setup of which seats get control over what functionalities at what point, and there is no such thing as shared ownership. E.g., at any time, there is only one seat that gets control over the flight controller, and we don't have a system in place that can purposefully swap controls or parts of it over. You would think that would be, this is generally the kind of thing that you hear in Star Citizen often. Like, the system's just not there. He says, in the F7C, you can fly the ship perfectly normal from the back seat until the front seat is taken, at which the control is handed over to the front seat, as the pilot seat has a higher priority over the flight items. So right now, the architecture in that regard is a bit too rigid for purposeful dynamic swapping. The same accounts for systems like countermeasures. At the moment, there is only player having authority over it, but CMs would actually be a good case to allow control for several players at the same time. That was not easy to read. He says, I absolutely agree with the use cases you listed. He said he's personally a big fan of instructor two-seaters. It's his favorite way to introduce players to VTOL VR, which handles that case in a really nice way. I've heard some things about VTOL. I think that's something I will try now I have VR. And going even beyond that, I can imagine cases where you purposefully lock out functionalities out of seats via hacking or because your ship gets boarded or so. That's it. That's the end of that sentence. I read that poorly. Oh man, that was bad. There is a lot of potential gameplay to be uncovered there. So obviously we want to improve things long term, but in the current list of things to achieve, it's a bit of a lower priority list as it's a chunky piece of work. Hope that makes sense. Now, if you are in the Star Citizen community and you've been around for a while, it makes tons of sense. It sits a bit lower in priority is like the name of the game. It's always lower priority, right? That's the whole idea of why the game's taking so long is because certain things are lower priority. And that's what kind of came up in the conversation here. He says, long term was like 2 years ago. I don't think we can perpetually use this as an excuse. I agree we want them long term. Doesn't work. 14 years is more than enough time for key bindings to be solid. I'm not really the kind of person to jump on the whole bandwagon of it's taken too long. Don't talk about it anymore. But I do think there's a point at which it's worth accepting that Star Citizen literally just takes a long time, and it's not changing. Even as they speed up in some places, they're starting to deliver some more good things. Inventory is actually getting somewhere. There are content deliveries popping in. They are developing actual progression like crafting and somewhat base building, it seems. There are still plenty of tiny things that make a pretty big difference to various little niche parts of gameplay that aren't going to get high priority. I wonder when the 2024 financials are coming out. I always bring it back to the old quote. It's not even old yet. This is a year ago. Like, yeah, it's talking about something from 2 years ago, but this is, I think, pretty indicative of the entire idea behind at least the last couple of years of this game. Although an expensive commitment, the decision was taken to devote these planned and required resources to Squadron 42 in the interest of making solid progress towards our ultimate goals. It's like, it's not the priority. Star Citizen and the things in Star Citizen weren't the priority in 2023. And they're still, I doubt they're still the priority. Just what it is. Part of putting up with this game is dealing with that. I'm not saying it's a good thing or that it's like that's how it should be. I'm just saying that's the reality, and I don't think it changes. Look at, I said I wasn't going to talk about this, yes, but look at Ashes of Creation. The main thing that sets the two games apart is that CIG is building a single player game. That's the reliable sell. That's the one they can actually launch. So that's their priority right now. And hopefully it actually works. But that's the matter of it. It's not necessarily going nowhere. It's just going very slowly. So yeah, I thought that was worth, like, this is just an insight into how the development happens. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this exchange. Yogi is freaking, bless him for how much he communicates with us. Bless all of the people who actually come onto these forums and talk about the work that they're doing. They're not the ones making the decisions. Generally, they're the ones who are trying to fulfill the decisions that have been made and make sure that the ship stays on course. And I appreciate that they come on here and talk about this stuff with us. But it's clear from their financials, it's clear from their updates, from their development, from the freaking playability push last year, which was actually just, we need to take some time off features so we could focus on Squadron. These aren't the priority. Hopefully they are, but we have to, again, just look towards when Squadron 42 comes out. But again, I do wonder when we're going to get the 2024 financials, because I bet that's going to be really telling. Ooh, that almost just flashed my contents. Come on now. Is taking too long. Always one. I mean, it is always taking too long, right? Raylan win? I'm still thinking, I think it's still possible we see the Raylan mid-year. First time your wife gave you your firstborn to give him the bottle, you were shaking from laughing. You couldn't stop laughing because you were so happy, so you had to return him. Man, imagine how the baby felt, man. Probably like, Dad. Daddy-o. Why are you laughing at me, Baba? There's a lot that the co-pilot should be able to do, but you agree that the controls should be superseded by the pilot controls. Yeah, the co-pilot role, I feel, is something that they need to get squared away pretty quickly. They've got a ton of multi-crew ships, and they need to be able to say, if you want a multi-crew ship, then this is what the second person is doing. At least a list of possibilities. They don't even say, like, the co-pilot handles shields or something. Your algo seems to have putting you into your auto playlist. Welcome. That's a fun auto playlist. Does your auto playlist happen to also include at any point Saxophone Man? Saxophone Man isn't even, that's not even like the... Careless Whispers. That's the one. Daddy-o. What's the, no can do, baby doll. No can doozy or something like that. I don't know. It's a Modern Family joke. Or no, it's a How I Met Your Mother joke. These are all the sitcoms I met through my wife. Met? How I Met Your Wife's sitcoms. My wife's sitcoms. Your mom's sitcoms. I'm just going to stop. Co-pilot should have access to engineering panel to manage while the pilot flies. Yeah, or like some broken down version. The co-pilot should be the one whose captain is like, "Ah, we're getting shot. I need shields to rear." And then the co-pilot's like, "All shields to rear, Captain." You know? And you should be able to know that. You're going to get into that if you join your friend on a ship. Co-pilot should be calling ATC. Co-pilot should be mapping the quantum route. Co-pilot should be doing the shields, shunting the power. The pilot should just be flying. That's why I was going to say nobody wants to fly. I think it's just me. That's why I don't want to fly. You got to do all the things. Sometimes I'm just not here for all the things. Don't open on my main screen. Thank you. Monday News Day. Okay. Uh-oh. That should be on the... There we go. Okay. You prefer not to fly as well. You have a huge fleet, but you're happy letting others fly the ships. I hope someday CIG talks a little bit about us being able to loan ships out. It's a lot of people with a lot of ships, and you could keep those ships unspawned, I guess, but once you spawn the ships into the game, once the game goes live, right? In 1.0, the game goes live. There are no more resets. There are no more server wipes and stuff. Basically, once you spawn your ship into the game, it exists. It's either in a hangar, it's stored away in the storage of the space station or the city that you're in, or you're out flying it and using it. If you're out flying it and using it, cool. I mean, you can store it away, I guess, and keep it safe in a cave. You don't have to pay maintenance on it. You're probably gonna have to get it cleaned at some point, I guess. But it's good. If you're storing it in a hangar, though, you're paying hangar fees. Now, if you own the hangar, I think the idea is for all the people who got hangars with their game packages, you own that hangar. So you maybe don't have to pay the leasing fees. Or probably the more likely way they go about it, everybody doesn't have to pay for whatever their home hangar is. So you pick like a home location on a planet, that one is free. But once you go to other places, if you store a ship in a hangar, say at Arc L1, I do believe you're going to have to pay storage fees for that hangar at Arc L1. Oh, they did This Week in Star Citizen already? Man, sometimes they're so early. So if you have a big fleet of ships and for whatever reason you do want to pull it out at some point, you're going to be paying a lot. Imagine you got 6 different ships and they're all large and you're paying hangar fees every day just so that they're sitting there doing nothing. I'm betting a lot of people are going to wish that they could be renting those out to their friends. Their friends are coming into the game. They don't have any ships. What do I do? How do I progress? Oh, don't worry. Here, you can rent the ship from me. As long as the pricing is forced and they can't just let people do it for free constantly, I don't think it would cause inflation. But I just feel like there's going to be a lot of full hangars just sitting around. Yeah, it's been all over the place. Kind of always is. It's like their monthly reports. Sometimes it's at the end of the day. Sometimes it's halfway through. All right. This Week in Star Citizen is out, folks. Let's jump into it and see what they've got for us. Big Matt says, I like how the first item in This Week in Star Citizen is always This Week in Star Citizen. That is it's a nice touch, huh? Okay. Coromore arrived last week, bringing a little extra love to the verse through February 23rd. You can also jump in with our latest referral bonus and free fly, making it a great time to invite a friend and love in the verse and share the adventure. They didn't say that second part. That was me. And if you are feeling especially inspired, we want to hear about it on our Coromore contest, Love Actually, Stories of the Verse. We welcomed Argo's latest industrial ship with salvage arms wide open. The Moth has arrived. Yes, we know this. Industrial missions, yes, wonderful, we know this. Some fixes could be there, but we like it. They are looking at Alpha 4.7, good. What's coming up this week, though? On Tuesday, we celebrate the Red Festival and the arrival of the Lunar New Year. We're literally going from one event to the next. Lunar New Year is actually, I like Lunar New Year. I'm a big fan of Red. I think they do a great job with the branding stuff on this. And it's a nice, fun little in-game activity. It's basically just a scavenger hunt. It's not as novel as it used to be. back when this was first introduced, like, it was the first time we got something in the game, or around the first time we got something in the game where you could go and find something and turn it in and feel like you were getting a reward. We've been playing the tech demo for a while, okay? And so I have a soft spot in my heart, I guess, for the Red Festival. And I think the skins are pretty nice too, so, you know, if you have a chance to win one, maybe we'll be giving away a Atlas with a skin at some point here in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. We're still doing our Argo Moth giveaway. So, you know, get in on that. Exclamation point giveaway will make that link pop up if you want that big old salvaging ship for yourself. But after that, we'll be doing an Atlas from this. The pig was last year. I don't know what the animal is going to be this year. So yeah, that's what's coming up, as they say. The Love Actually Stories of the Verse is ending on February 23rd this week, along with the Free Fly that's going on. We'll talk about Free Fly in a second. And then on Thursday, Star Citizen Live returns with a focused deep dive into industrial gameplay and non-combat professions. That's insane. Because somebody told me last year that Star Citizen isn't doing an industrial gameplay anymore. It's only a shooter. They said that there were only COD developers at CIG now. Torsten is famous for being very deep in the mines on Black Ops 2. Luna Maria! Long time no see. Hello! Had to pop by to say congratulations to you and Mrs. Tomato. It's about time. Parenthood has been a fulfilling blessing for my husband and I. Congratulations. I hope that you and your family are doing fantastic and that the little baby is growing and doing a little finger things and all the cute stuff over these last several months. It's been a while. I hope I really hope that the little one is growing into an absolute ball of joy. Thanks for dropping by. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a great new year. Is there a code for the moth giveaway? Yes, it's Baby Tomato. The little baby boy. This little mini tomat, the little tomat junior TJ. The problem you see is how they will balance UEC drains like hangar fees in a way that doesn't drive away semi-casual players. Otherwise, we would end up with a verse as empty as the Dune game currently. I think the best thing that they could do is encourage semi-casual players to stay near their home location, or give them the ability to move their home location easily. Because the goal is, from their perspective, to make enough gameplay around 1 or 2 planets to keep people pretty involved over the course of a couple weeks at least. Semi-casual players probably aren't playing too often. Hey, people really want that moth. Dude, it's a moneymaker, that's for sure. PK, thanks for gifting out a sub over to Avocado. Much love, dude. It's gonna be a Mr. Tomato sequel. Hey, that's one way to call it. That's a name you haven't heard in a while. The Luna Maria hellos in chat. You missed it? What's up with the baby tomato? It's a boy! We announced the boy nature. Whee! We were gonna say if it's a girl, she's a commando. If it's a boy, it's an assassin. Honestly, it could go either way. But for now, until he can choose for himself, he's the new assassin in the family. Mrs. Tomato has got her gun. I'll be the cool miner. Even though the baby's actually the miner. Haha! Alright. So yeah, Torsten, lead games designer, and Elliot, lead mission designer, are going to be joining to talk the broader vision behind industrial systems on Thursday, how they are progressing, and what is new with the industrial missions. Introduced in Alpha 4.6. Tune in on February at 1500 UTC. I believe that is 7 a.m. PST? Maybe 8 a.m. Possibly 7 a.m. One of those two. We're looking forward to answering. Wait, hold on. 7 a.m. here is 5 a.m. No, 5 p.m. over there. Jesus. It's earlier, huh? I don't know. Whatever. Just be somewhere. Look out for it on YouTube afterward. It'll be there too. They have a thread where you can ask questions if you'd like. I highly suggest you ask questions. This is a really important thing for a lot of people. This has been a huge pain point for a ton of people over the last year and a half. People want to feel like there's more gameplay than just the combat stuff. Please. Please, oh, please, oh, please. Ask your questions here. Let's put them on the spot. Like, get them talking about this stuff so that we can talk about it. Later this week, Evocati will get their hands on a new tech preview focused on the inventory rework and crafting, bruh. Oh, it's Christmas in February. Christmas in February. I really freaking hope this comes out in 4.7. We'll see. We'll see how much progress this has made since then. I think the biggest holdup is going to be the crafting UI. Because of everything they've shown here, inventory rework is doing pretty dang well. That seems like I think that can make 4.7. Crafting, though, was pretty unfinished. So hopefully, we'll see. Friday, don't forget that the latest RSI weekly newsletter lands in your inbox. If you're not subscribed yet, you can enable it at any time through your account. And that is This Week in Star Citizen. Also, Enter Atmosphere. Lands in Sydney on Saturday. The Atmo Esports folks are actually hosting their in-person event in Australia. That's pretty cool. It's been 10 years since the team last visited Australia. Chris, Sandy, and Xylo can't wait to be back and celebrating. I'm guessing that is the Australia-New Zealand Bar Citizen, a big one. Sounds cool. I mean, it's awesome, like, that the game is opened in development and that we can watch the game being made and stuff, but I do think that it's really important to keep the community together and to keep this sense of actual, togetherness. Not just that it's a product that people are using, but like there is some level of passion driving it. Not that I don't believe there is. I just think that when you need to focus a lot on making sure that the company's actually staying alive and getting things done, you can lose that. And I like that they still come out and meet with the community. Anyways, that's This Week in Star Citizen. Okay, what's happening next week now? So impatient. But yeah, let them cook. Let them get it done. I hope 4.7 has that good stuff. Refining, please. Refining, please. But there is more combat. There is more combat. I'm not saying there's not more combat. You have an idea for great gameplay? Let's add journalism. I mean, we kind of have that already, right? You can technically journalize. Sort of worried something happened. We hadn't seen you. Glad to hear things are going okay. 91 Indivestor, appreciate you, dude. Why is that paragraph different on RSI web's page? This is the RSI web page. Which paragraph? Fake paragraphs? All right. You're reading something different. Where? Which part? Maybe they updated it. Meyer does journalism RP on his stream. Meyer has the craziest freaking voice skills, dude. Excited for crafting. First thing we can make combat gear. Hey, you can make your components, huh? Your power plants, right? Right. Your daughter's 14 months? Holy crap, happy first birthday. Wow. Dude, 14 months it's been. Jeez, Al. There's no mention of atmosphere 2956. Maybe they updated it. No, I have it there. Solar Storm, thank you for the congratulations. We need more ways, more careers than just ways to get rich, and I'll tell that to CIG every chance I get. I do think journalism is kind of a thing, though. They need to maybe make some NPC-driven stuff for that? I don't know. Was that even on the 1.0? The big jumble of 1.0 fun?
Is the core.
What would even that be under?
And we're going to be adding something special for the daredevils out there.
Would that be in this? It makes sense here. In competition? Where else would you put it? Journalism. Science? It is kind of funny that they didn't put it up here, because, like, there are ships that were literally sold for it. Builder, refiner, repair, breakdown, engineer, fuel gatherer, salvager, miner, crafter, transporter, courier, parkour athlete. You ever sign up to play a new space sim because you wanted to be a parkour athlete? Your son is almost 252 months? Dude. Holy crap. That's so many months, bro. Your daughter's 20, you feel like she just turned 2? Okay, that's not what he said. He said it feels like just yesterday she was 2. But I read it as my daughter's 20. I feel like she was just 2. And I'm like, you should tell her that. Your son's what? Shoelacer? No, I'm not seeing that up here. Your son's almost 21. You feel like he's turning 12. We've got Nerf Arena Marksman. We've got the Hunter. Grand Prix Racer. Salvaging Cargo Olympics champions. But no journalist on here, no. Collect animal parts. We already do that. Rescue person, firefighting, location mapping. Scan area. Chemical carfter. Anybody want to be a carfter these days? Academy of the Sciences? No, it's the same one. Maybe the Mercenary Guild is the one with the journalists. No. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm sorry about it, but I'm not sure what the heck they're doing with journalism, which I think is kind of disappointing too. I was... Sorry. Really good piece of chocolate. Your son used to play SC. You'd like to get him back into playing. But he said not till it is released. Probably a good idea. I would say anybody who feels that way, let him sit. If you don't want to play a release game until it's playing like it's released, Star Citizen is going to piss you off. It'll be worse than it is to just wait. Oh, man. We have Turkish tea again. Just overnight, this household went from American to Turkish. It's great. Okay, what else did we have to talk about? I had all these fun topics coming up at the beginning of the stream. And now I can't remember them. Is Star Citizen worth playing for free? I actually don't think that's super important. Something about the moth? Nothing in the stream? Nonsense, dude. I think there was another game we were going to talk about, huh? Tiny Home Gaming. Good to see you, dude. Oh, that's 2 freaking streams in a week. We are blessed. Seriously, we just saw Tiny Home Gaming and Luna Maria both in the same stream, folks. I feel like I'm living back in 2024. It's good times. I hope you both are doing very well. Active. What up, bro? Good to see you, dude. Thank you for joining me on the podcast this weekend. If you guys haven't seen the new episode, I brought in Active, a previous Halo content creator, which when I invited him to join me, I did not know. And then we sat down and he had Halo stuff in the background and a Halo shirt on. And he talked about how he covered Halo. And I was like, bro, I can't stop talking about Halo. It's fucking perfect. So we chatted for a good hour or so about kind of how Star Citizen brings in folks from not MMOs traditionally to play. Give him a check on Twitch, and could we get a shout out from my man? Is it Halo? No, a much more relevant series, Ashes of Creation, actually. Just sold you to play Star Citizen, watch your video, love it. Dutchy Holland, thank you for checking it out. But I do want to be careful. There are a lot of broken parts of the game. It is super fun, but it can be very frustrating. Always watching while you work, doing great. How's the taste for olives going? It's going nowhere, my friend. Thanks for asking. Looks like Cobra TV is making back making SC content. He's been streaming a bit more for a little while. We rated him a couple months ago. Glad to see him back to it. No Man's Sky? No, dude, I was gonna throw on the Expanse as well. We're gonna check that out. I should do a month where I try a new MMO every week. I do want to try specific games. There are a few different games that I want to try to prepare myself. Either Freelancer or Wing Commander. Mrs. Tomato found a Black Widow with a big booty Black Widow outside. That's good Lord, what was it? Remember last year? I guess we live next to a field, so it makes sense that we get them. Last year I put them on my slipper and I accidentally like nudged a spider to the point like cuz my toe's so big, right? Toes. Cuz it's so fat, it killed the spider on accident. I didn't realize, but it was only until I looked down that I noticed it was a Black Widow. So we're gonna need to be careful about that. Especially with the baby on the... Oh my god, no! Ah! Now I have to consider everything about a... Oh my gosh. Not even about me anymore, you know? You really need to try the WoW Classic. Think you'll see a lot of SC is trying to do. Right, I was talking about games to try. Freelancer or Wing Commander. Star Wars Galaxies. I guess WoW would be a nice one. But also I want to know why people like Final Fantasy so much. Because, The Old Republic, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that's actually done a good job of sticking around for a while. California's a terrible place for a kid? As a previous kid, I disagree. Thank you. Freelance MMO is what we want, essentially. It is kind of what we are getting, but on steroids. With Star Citizen? WoW is addicting. I played some of the X series. I haven't... It's not like a mainstay. I've done some X4 though. Wouldn't mind jumping into that a little bit more. Wait, the Old Republic's free to play? Is that just a right now kind of thing? Buy a couple of geckos and let them loose in the house. Okay. Geckos, I'd do that. Sounds good. I can dig a gecko. PlanetSide 2. I was actually looking at the cross-section of games that allowed the gameplay that Star Citizen allows, and PlanetSide 2 was coming up a lot. I've heard a lot about it. I know a lot of people who played this game have come over to Star Citizen. And what was that other one that was kind of like this? MAG, I think it was called. Right? This was the one that was supposed to be like massive. Yeah, 256 player battles. I don't know what happened to this one. A first-person MMO, they were calling it. Star Citizen RP is going to go so hard. Star Citizen RP, if Star Citizen actually becomes a successful game, Squadron releases, things go well, and Star Citizen is able to keep its development together, I think RP is going to be one of the bigger parts of the game. It's kind of perfect for it, if they just have to figure out a way to stay safe. Free to play and has an optional subscription that unlocks the rest of the game. Okay. Alright. The Old Republic was one you really enjoyed for a bit. When I was first looking for an MMO, because I've never played one, my main thing was I want a game that I can... it's funny to look at this perspective now from the perspective of somebody who plays with an org and like is doing a lot more group play. I was like, I want an MMO where I can run through everything like I was a solo player, just living in a multiplayer world. Not to say I wanted to be closed off from everyone else. I just wanted to be able to go at my own pace and run stories without people getting in my way, which is what a lot of people want from Star Citizen. And Star Wars Galaxies was one that came up a lot when people said to look for that kind of thing. It's full of communist teachers. So is the rest of the country. Brother. Let's keep chat grounded. You think it's still active? PlanetSide 2? The heyday of PlanetSide 2 was like nothing else. Can't imagine an FPS MMO is having good times. Guild Wars. Okay. What are your thoughts on the F7C Super Hornet Mark II? It's really cool. I really like the Super Hornets for both series. Those are like the only Hornets I really like. But the Mark II definitely looks way better than the Mark I. What you just described sound like most of the content of Final Fantasy XIV. Okay. You unlocked Jedi less than 2 weeks ago before the new game NGE changes in the Galaxy. Oh, 2 weeks before the new game changes in challenge. I see. Yeah, Star Wars Galaxies isn't actually able to be played anymore, right? It's kind of closed off. Speaking of MMOs. God, I almost don't feel like talking about AOC, to be honest. That's yummy. But the situation is crazy enough that I kind of do. Let's talk about this. So, like I said before, I am not the kind of person to just jump in and cover other games for the sake of covering them. I don't necessarily think that there's too much to spend time on with this other than just the context. I see I see some comments on mostly the threads that are talking about. In fact, I could probably look this up real quick. You just scroll through a thread like this. And then you can find mentions of Star Citizen generally popping up. A lot of people will be like, this is what's going to happen to Star Citizen next. Sorry, I know you guys can't even see that. And I feel like there's something to be said about the difference between these two games. No, I don't even want to get into this. It's not worth it. It's not worth talking about this. The biggest thing to note, I will say, go watch this. If you're interested in this stuff, I'm not going to dive into it. But this guy has done a really good job of explaining what's been going on here. And if you want to see for yourself how this is different from Star Citizen, check his channel out. Not only did he actually get a lot of inside information to talk about, he brought on one of the investors that shared their side of the story. You can always take an investor's word with a grain of salt, but he shares a lot of inside perspective into how the project was struggling for a long time to figure out how to make money. And I think that's the biggest difference between Star Citizen and something like this. Star Citizen has no problem making money. In fact, people hate it for it. Extremely biased. Maybe biased, but you can listen to what the investor has to say. And again, take his words with a grain of salt. He's obviously burned, but that is the closest information you can get from what's going on in there. Dude, they're not gonna have the same problem. Now, I'm not saying that Star Citizen can't run into the problem where they run out of money, but I think that it's gonna be very clear to everybody who's watching Star Citizen, which for a lot of people, it was clear that things were going wrong with Ashes of Creation. But these people were struggling to make money 6 years ago. Like they were taking out loans with other loans as collateral in 2019. And that kind of thing is indicative, I think, of a struggle throughout that time. If you look at that time in the same period for Star Citizen, those are the best years of their funding. And they need to be careful about growing too quickly to cover these costs. But as you can see, Star Citizen releases their financials. As far as I'm aware, this guy here, where'd he go? I closed all the pages. The guy who's doing all this talking, the investor, he never saw their own financials of the company. He never saw the financials of the company that he had invested millions of dollars into. We would be foaming at the mouth if we didn't get at least this. Obviously, they can cook the books all they want, but at least they're reporting stuff to the government, and the government is doing a third-party audit on the company and saying, yeah, looks good. Sure, you guys, like, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, this company's making a great MMO. It's right on, perfect. They're killing the business. They're just making sure it's not illegal. And I think that is a big difference. That and their ability to make money is a big difference between this and Ashes of Creation. Beyond that, I don't think it's worth talking about the similarities. They're both going to be mentioned in the same conversations because they're both talked about in the same ways. But Star Citizen has found an incredibly lucrative business model. It's one a lot of people don't agree with. I'm definitely not going to say you have to agree with it. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say you don't support this business model and therefore don't like the game. But if you're going to acknowledge that it is making a ton of money off of so-called loser whales that don't know what they're doing, you also have to acknowledge that it is making a lot of money and therefore not going to have the same problems as AOC, which wasn't. And that's kind of, I think, the most important thing you can get from this situation. Even Kira was smart enough to turn down this Jason guy. A burned investor is gonna say some things. Sold as a game self-funded by a millionaire, and we've now seen legal documents that show he had investors from day one. Right, that's yeah. That's just the tip of the iceberg kind of issue, but that's the most clear problem part, is claiming that it was funded when in reality there were other people with money in it. Like, if there were other investors to Star Citizen, I would say other big investors besides the Calders, I would expect CIG to disclose that. Because then your priorities change. You know, right now a lot of their money is coming from backers, so a lot of their money comes from people who care about whether or not the game's actually getting better. That's why you look at the funding and you can see that as the game gets better, the funding gets higher. This isn't what investors are going to do. If the game's getting better and more money's coming in, investors are just going to take more of it. Payouts, bruh, dividends. So it's actually nice that we get to see the return. But if more investors came in, then that would start to dilute a little bit. You think going straight to 2 after 1 was the wrong move? 2 what? Oh, Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2. You are a whale, and up until now you bought because it's a living, flying art that is usable, so you bought. That's also something. A lot of people think that folks are spending money on this for the same reason. When you could have a Discord channel that has one person who spent money on this because they want to fly the $45 ship and play with their friend who invited them for a free fly week. One person who's been at this for 14 years and has put in $90,000 because they just want to help the game be funded and they don't really care what they get in return. And you got another person who just really likes to collect spaceships and thinks they're cool and has a job that pays them $500,000 a year and already does philanthropy and has set their kids up. And so now they just want to collect spaceships and look at them. There's a lot of different reasons to do stuff like this. I'm not justifying the model to people who don't agree with it, but I think it's worth seeing that it's not just like a one size fits all. You do laugh that you were watching a bigger creator a few weeks ago saying he trusts Ash's CEO to deliver a game more than CIG. Oh no. Why would you say that at that time? I would like it was last summer that people were starting to have bad feelings about it. By this January, there's already a lot of rumors going on. What's up, Fresh? How you doing? We talked about this a lot with Gorlo on his stream. You know, a bunch of investor bros, and this is not even that crazy. Just kind of how that world is. Dude, I mean, I think there's some level of watering down how crazy the world is. It is crazy world. It's not crazy considering how investing goes, but the world of investing is f***ing batshit f***ing stupid. And we should probably highlight it more and not act like it's normal. I mean, the video game industry is seeing at least a segment of itself kind of just digging gashes out of its own body and slowly killing itself because what came and got involved? Investment. Investors kind of suck sometimes, dude. Some investors are great. Some investors do some cool stuff. Putting money into things is a good thing. You can't get stuff done without money. But Jesus. Ugh. We talk about bad management problems. How about bad investing? Oof. And I know good investing means you have losses. I get that. But at least be responsible with it. If anything from AOC is true, that just wasn't responsible. You don't just keep putting money into something when you're not being told what's going on with it. Hey man, Come on, dude, I gave you $3 million. Tell me what's going on. Oh, I'll tell you what's going on. I just need another 500K. Yeah, but first, show me some product from the 3 million. Yeah, dude, I will, but as soon as you give you the 500K. All right, here's the 500K. Now, it's like, no! Don't do it. Ask for a PU. That's what you mean. Yeah, it's problematic. We'll say that. Why couldn't some rich streamer just buy ashes for pennies on the dime? Dude, because it's not worth it. That's the thing. It's not worth it. None of this is worth it. Making an MMO is a stupid idea if you want to make money. Investors don't want to make MMOs. Don't do it. Make a live service hero shooter. No, don't do that. That's bad too. That's what the high guard people tried to do. Make something good. Just like make something good and original, target a place in the market that people want, and there is nothing. But damn, trying to make an MMO and get investors to see big bucks from making it is crazy. It'll be the next WoW. That's why the whole idea with Star Atlas was pretty silly too. Yeah, dude, you should play this space game. Yeah, you get to go in space and have spaceships and stuff, but also you can make money. Okay. Totally. CIG has a few private investors that basically know CR, where SC funding is considered profit. We definitely don't want big investors, especially publishers. Yeah. The few that are there at least know them, which I guess is the same case with what was going on with AOC. Dude, the freaking things, man. Oh my God. The things that the guy was saying. The dude who invested into the company was friends with the owner's mother, and the things he said to the mother about the son who owned the company is insane. Being an investor into something that your friend is doing sounds terrifying. Especially if it starts to go downhill. Alan!
You know that?
My dude. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you being here. I hope you're enjoying the stream. We don't want finance bros financing SC. We don't want whales financing SC. How are they supposed to in that case? It's unpalatable to most people in this economy to see whales, but their money, their choice. Even Goth had a patron. Goth. I don't know who that is. I mean, everything's gonna have whales. Nothing wrong with whales. The thing is, everybody, like, there's always money in the world. There's always going to be people who like things, who have a lot of money to throw at those things. Yeah. I'm here for it. That's how things work. Even when it comes to like charity, a lot of charity is covered by like the little $1, $2, $3 donations, but you got your whales that come in and they're like, hey, this is something I really care about. I have a lot of money. I got a big bonus last month. I'll drop $2,000 on this just because it's there. I think that's fine. The problem is when they start to get some kind of stake in the company or the product because of that. Ew. Ew. Wait, we got one for that. Yeah, kids. Shame that. Saw the video from you about CIG's big opportunity. Can you tell me in a few words what this is about? CIG's big opportunity. Wait, what video was that? Big opportunity, big opportunity. Big opportunity. I don't know what video that is. What are you referring to? The last one. This one? Sum up what this is? This is literally just, I think actually the funniest thing about this video, this kind of was an experiment, this video. I wanted to make a video that basically covered 4.6 and 4.7. Yeah, 2 updates coming in 2 months from one another, and I think that they're both 2 good updates. They both are bringing some good things, and they're both landing at a pretty good time to do those things. But I also wanted to talk about the fact that there's more stuff coming in later in the year. So I was just like, they're on a winning streak. I think these are a bunch of good things they're doing all in a row, at least better than they used to be. So really, it's just an update video. It's just talking about these updates. Sometimes the headline takes over the narrative, though. A lot of people spend money on sports cars. You have a hoopty, but a Star Destroyer and SC. Yeah, I'm not gonna bash on anybody for their hobbies. I've learned more and more over the last like several years. If you've got a hobby and it's not like, it's hard to say it's not hurting people because hobbies can finance industries that hurt people. So it's not a one size fits all kind of statement to say. But I feel like if you've got a hobby and it's not doing direct pain to other people around you, I'm not really going to question it. Just like maybe don't let it spiral out of control to the point where it's damaging to society and you're starting to create nuclear bombs in your garage that could blow open black holes. We'll fund you, okay? Sounds like you're smart. We'll give you tax money. We'll make sure you have an actual lab to do that. Let's just not do it in the garage. You like that SC is scrappy? Your hot take is that SC needs to close access to the early access to really put a few months gap between early access and actual release. Oh, public image has been, oh, it's always broken or it's never coming out. I think they need a noticeable gap. Dude, I do think that there is a slow realization happening that they're actually working on a game here. If you go back to those mentions of investor Reddit, we'll say, if you go back to some of these threads where people will talk about like Ashes of Creation coming up and then Star Citizen comes up, sometimes, let's see if it comes up, sometimes yeah, see, it says the Star Citizen model, and sometimes people will actually say no, yeah, they'll say the same thing. Same as Star Citizen, except people still keep paying money for it, and it's now sitting at 942 million in funding versus Ash's 3 million, and then Steven claimed to have put 32 million into it, which supposedly isn't true. Someone posted a chat. Wait. See, people are saying it's the same thing as Star Citizen, but it's not. And sometimes people will note that, like, there are some things about it. Like this person. I fully believe that there's I see. The team behind the ships clearly enjoys what they're doing, but for 14 years of development behind the game and $1 billion in financing, the people running the project can only be one of two things: scammers ripping off suckers or utterly incompetent project managers. I don't think that's really going to change until they start having a game that actually performs, but honestly, because of the time it's taken, it might just never matter. Even if there's any sort of gap, no matter what they do, people have decided it's bad because of the time taken. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think if Star Citizen actually ended up being a good game, people would flip the script or stick to it? That basically they, no matter what, even if it's a good game, the fact that it took so long was kind of what ruined it. Hello, Mr. Ferristar. How you doing, dude? Good to see you in the chat. He's just a bit eccentric. Ferrister and Ava both in the chat. It's not possible. He has two PCs. He has two different computers. Thank you. Check his IP. Lucid, Mr. Lucid Strike. Y'all still think CAG is incompetent enough to launch half to 2026 when Rockstar is about to flood the block this summer? Q2 or they're doomed. Rockstar flooding the block. I love that as a saying. I don't know, man. I don't know how that goes this year. How confident are they in this game, you know? If Star Citizen ended up being a good game. Bro, it's good already, Ferrister says. Yeah, but Ferrister, You're a paid shill. Silly. Look. I'll cut the grain a little bit. I don't think Star Citizen's a good game yet. I think it's freaking fun. And it's incredibly interesting. And for the person who's looking for a space experience, you can totally get a lot of entertainment out of it. But I don't think until they have a proper security system, a proper reputation progression, and actual pointers as to what to do when you join the game, I'm not going to call it a good game. It's because as soon as people start talking regularly like this is a good game, like if this messaging all flipped and people started talking like it was a good game, then people would join much faster and we'd be f***ed, bro. We could, because normies could not handle how many like intuitive no duh kind of things are still missing. You still think GTA stuff is not that big a deal considering it's only releasing on consoles? It's not the competition of the game, it's the competition of the ad dollars. You have to think about it from the perspective of the advertisers and of the people who are going to be showing videos of this stuff, of word of mouth, and the fact that it is a zero-sum game. If everybody's talking about GTA, they're not talking about other stuff. And GTA is just the top of the pyramid. There are other things that might be coming out this year that are also going to take ad dollars. Microsoft is going to put a shit ton of marketing into Fable, I think. And Fable is likely coming out late this year. I think they actually announced a release date already. So, like, there is a potential cacophony. Haven't used that one on stream yet. Of things that could happen to complicate advertising in the latter half of this year. Non-combat professions mentioned for SCL Thursday. Thoughts? Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's been a while since we've heard one of those talks. You wouldn't be surprised if Rockstar delays GTA 6 again and people will just nod and say let them cook. In the same breath, curse SC for taking the time to make their game. In Rockstar's defense, they've got a whole other game still going on. Multiple other games still going on that people are distracted by. There are flashes of absolute brilliance where you go, man, you can't do that anywhere else, and then you can you can't turn in the quest you were on. Yeah. Jaybird, good to see you in chat, dude. What you get from a different game that has been in development for 10 years is a released product ready for the market. With SC is not the case, still glorified tech demo. The only game that you can think of that has had similar public opinion would have been No Man's Sky. Cyberpunk had a pretty bad reputation for its first few months. And the expectations with Cyberpunk were set so high. Holy crap. Coming off releasing The Witcher 3, they did a huge marketing campaign leading up to it. Cyberpunk in general is like not that explorative genre. That was such a big screw up of a launch. I'm glad that they were able to come back from it, but I bet that they will never get away from that. People will always remember that. CIG can be remembered for taking forever to make a game. They can be remembered for using the most controversial funding model. They can be remembered for delays on delays, but please God, CIG, be remembered for also making a good release. Okay? At this point, you're never going to get away from being the company that took forever to make your game. If you need to delay it again, delay it again. Release a good game. That's my stance, man. I really, really, really want to see it come out, but you already got one problem on your hands. Cyberpunk never deserved the bad rap. I mean, dude, that was a bad release. That was a bad release that should have been pushed back, and it was clearly rushed because of publishing concerns and not production concerns. I think they deserve the hate for that. I also think that their advertising was a little bit disingenuous with the way that they tried to make the game seem like it had more RPG elements in it from launch than it did. They obviously made up for that with Phantom Liberty. But I think that the way that they showed missions concluding or working as a vertical slice made it seem like the whole game was going to work like that, and then it didn't. They won't need to delay it. It's that $900 million price tag to get it released. You think they'll never, you think no matter what, because it costs, because they made that much money, people just won't consider the game? No project should take longer than 2 technology cycles. Rework equals bad project management. Yeah. And I think it's become very, very, very clear that bad project management runs rampant in the gaming industry. Is that enough reason to never give it time of day? Have you heard any news on the Polaris getting any changes? No, I haven't heard any news on that, but it did get a little bit of an update at the beginning of this year, I think. A little interior update. Your biggest fear is how they tend to break old things whenever they add something new. You hope they have a plan for it, otherwise they'll never be able to push updates which are stable in a timely manner. I think that's how it's going to be for a while. Until the majority of features are in the game. Think about how much stuff Maelstrom's gonna break. Dude, I'm like showing thigh over here. Sheesh. Short shorts, bro. Mr. Chip, you just got here and you're asking for me to be shot? You gonna take Mrs. Tomato away from time with her mother? To shoot? Actually, I think she might have stepped out. If GTA 6 was as open as CIG, what do you think sentiment would be? I ask that a lot. Both GTA 6 and Elder Scrolls 6 would be so interesting to see in an open development environment. I bet people would like the amount of education. It kind of sucks. CIG is supposedly giving us a view into what it looks like to make a video game. Probably unparalleled. We don't really get views like this into the process, which is really nice. But then on the flip side, we don't know if it's normal. Because we don't see it from other companies that much. And you'll hear devs talk about like how things happen. Obviously, anybody who works in large projects also recognizes a lot of the inadequacies and the inefficiencies that happen with Star Citizen as a project. But you don't know if that's exactly how the game development process works. And anybody who does obviously only has their name to back their opinion. It would be amazing to see a company like Rockstar come out and show us that. Because then I would wonder to myself, would people look at that and say, okay, that must be how games are made? Or would they think, wow, Rockstar is really bad at making games? It wasn't broken, it had bugs they mostly fixed in the early days after release. That's legit every modern PC game release. And I think every modern PC game release sucks. I just think Cyberpunk got the most of it because, again, they were coming off the Witcher 3 launch. They had a huge marketing campaign that really hyped up the game. They did have to cut some features and stuff from the game when it released. So it had a bigger magnifying glass on it. But honestly, people need to stop releasing broken games. Starfield got the same sort of treatment. It released with a lot of broken aspects of it, and it got the same sort of focus. I'm sure there were other games that released that year that were more broken, but Starfield was the big one. Halo, same thing. If you're a big game coming from a big company and you got a big pedigree, don't f*** up your quality. You think it's a little unfair to say X money equals X game? We as a community basically added more to the game as we kept showing support. So is it fair to say A plus B equals tomato? I am not saying that. I don't. If anybody else who wants to say that is free to. But yeah, I don't think that money equals a certain type of game.
You rock. You know that?
D-Pain. I love the name D-Pain, dude. It's fun to say. You don't think CDPR had a choice in the matter? They're self-publishing. I mean, obviously their publishing arm may have strong-armed their studio arm, but I'm pretty sure they publish their games. Granted, they're publicly traded, I think, so yeah, their shareholders might have been like, nah, get it out. But that's the problem with being publicly traded. Content complete means no more moving targets. It means fixed bugs stay fixed. Optimizations stay meaningful. It's fundamentally different, CIG or not. I don't think they've said they're content complete yet, have they? I mean, we're super far from content complete. Who am I kidding? Honestly, Walking Bard, I didn't like the story either, but I that's subjective. "2077 had the problem to release on PS4 when it clearly is a next-gen game." Yeah, being beholden to old consoles sounds pretty crappy for a new game. Being beholden to consoles in general sounds pretty crappy for a new game. Sorry, consoles. I love you, but I recognize how difficult they can be. A lot of those broken games work fine internally. That's always been part of PC gaming, and now more than ever, you cannot plan for every single possible PC hardware combo. Sure, but then other games release well, so we have context. If some games do release well and some games don't, then the games that don't release well probably should keep doing what they can to figure out how to release well. Like if CIG comes out with Star Citizen and they're like, there's so many computer combinations, sorry the game's not running, I'm gonna be like, what the f, CIG? I don't care. You're the company. Like, I get it. It is hard. All of my freaking sympathy to game developers. I have no problem with game developers. The people who are working on this stuff and trying to make it actually run, more power to them, and I wish they had more time. But the people who are calling the shots at the top need to stop releasing broken stuff.
Toes.
It's just that simple. I'm sorry. I know it's hard because, like, shareholders and investors and quarters and earnings and stuff, but for the love of the game, please. Oh, you were talking about Squadron 42. Do you think he meant that they were content complete? I feel like he didn't say that so that he didn't have to be held to that standard. Games themselves are part of the context. Every game is not the same and every engine's not the same. Indeed. You know what grinds your gears? They announced Nick's coming in 26, but it's going to be like December 27th, 2026 kind of release. What? I am confused, Alan. Nyx is already in the game. Granted, it's not complete at all. But like they're adding to it throughout the year. They said content complete in December 2025. He said content complete. Oh, you meant the planet. Okay, Nyx won. I was like, wait a second. Nyx is in the game. What's going on? Yeah, Nyx won. I don't know, dude. I think it could come in sooner. It seems more like a mid-year kind of thing. Planet Tech, if there's anybody in the company who actually does their... Okay, that's not fair. If there's anybody in the company who continuously succeeds and excels beyond expectations, I'll say, it's the Planet Tech team. They've been pretty consistently super impressive with their releases, so I wouldn't be surprised if they get their stuff out pretty timely this year. But maybe. To be frank, The Witcher 3 was also pretty bad when it first came out. You're not wrong, Fish. That's actually a good point. The only reason that's not talked about much is because most people jumped on the game after Fallout 4. Right, and then after the DLCs too, that helped it a lot. They can't know it's broken without releasing it in early access at least. Then do an early access, do a beta. Arc Raiders did like 3 different playtests to make sure that their game ran okay. Do something to make sure that your launch isn't a disaster, or else you're going to deserve what you get for your launch being a disaster. Hell, as much as I like to talk about how Star Citizen is, you know, oh, they're in this state, they're in that state, they're pushing this launch, all that stuff with the features. They still deserve the flack for putting out an alpha patch that's completely broken. Like, at this point, they're selling the game too much as a live service. They have people coming and playing it every day. They have the CTO going on camera saying that they've got a stability score that they reach with each patch. Like, they need to make sure things are stable. Thank you very much. Stable, I guess is the new word I'm gonna say. Star Wolf, Mr. Star Wolf Lord. Bro, thank you for 10 subs, dude. Jeez. Hey, Toes Gang grows with the addition of a wolf today. I'll be honest with you, I love a wolf. They're pretty cool. They run around and do stuff. Arr. Wolf things. Thank you for the support, buddy. Thanks for bringing more people into the sub club. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a lovely stream. Yeah. Why would they need a public test of Squadron 42 when they have public SC? No. I'm not talking. We were talking about Cyberpunk, Lucid. Don't see the difference between a single player RPG and an online extraction shooter. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying test it. Like, I don't know, test, are there not, does nobody demo single player games? Is there no way to test single player games? How do people release good single player games? That's what I'm asking. As far as it goes, I'll put the topic to sleep here. Whatever you need to do to have a good release, I think you should do it. If that means bringing in more QA over the course of a couple of years to test different types of computers, if that means building a simulation software that can run certain things in your game, if that means releasing a day one patch that fixes things, okay. But I think that if you're releasing a single player game, it should run well on its targeted platforms. And I think that's going to be something that people take into account when the game releases. Watching from Japan. Dude. I always think it's crazy. You guys are considered east of us, but you're actually west. I don't think I have any Twilight Zone music here, so I'm just going to do one of these. Not actually that crazy, but I do feel like I wish it was easier to visit Japan. Amazing place. At least from what I've seen. Hope you're having a lovely day, dude. Thank you for the support. Glad you've been enjoying. You would give subs, but you have no idea what they do. They give people access to our live podcast. They let you view our live podcast, or view our podcast early if you missed the live one. They give you access to our chat rooms on the Discord for supporters. They put your sub, you can use like emotes on the chat, and then you can see our exclusive videos every month. So you're gifting somebody a good gift if you give them a sub. Appreciate you. Put all your Nyx planets in a bag and nobody gets hurt. Every game is different and some games can't be totally tested, just is what it is. I guess. They need to do something though. Single player releases gotta be better. I feel like there have been some good single player game releases recently. Their quality team working on the Moth release. Afraid for Squadron 42. I think luckily Squadron 42 is held to a higher standard because it actually has to be good. Ship releases in Star Citizen just need to be good enough to sell. Unfortunately. Where is that letter, though? Is this it? Yeah, there's Nick's. 2025. All right, on the Squadron 42 front, our focus throughout 2025 was to build on the progress of 2024 and what we showed at last year's CitizenCon by bringing the game to content complete and closing out remaining core tasks in preparation for beta. Okay, but did they? Morphex. Wait, Morphex. Morphex AI, dude. Hey, drop subs. Brother, thank you for gifting subs out. You're also on Toes Gang. I mean, that's something. Who doesn't want to be on something called Toes Gang? Right? That's the best part of your day. Thank you, brother, for the support. Thanks for bringing more people into the sub club, dude. Do we have a word on where CitizenCon is this year? We don't even have a word on if there's a CitizenCon this year. We're going to have to... God, I hate this sound. We're going to have to see. If they want to release Squadron 42, I'm guessing they want to do a gala and
Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you very much.
Still, that would be pretty crazy. Young CC. Yo, Toes Gang's popping off today, guys. Let's hear it for the Young CC in here. Where's my other shot? Brother! There's an underscore in there. I don't miss my underscores. Thank you, man. And again, if you guys are getting gifted these subs, hold on, let me do if you come to all right, check this out. This is a page on our Discord server. If you are gifted a sub on the stream, on YouTube, if you get a membership, anything like that, you can go to this channel on Discord. It's called Supporter Alerts. Just make sure you have your platform hooked to your Discord. And each post on this is either we release all of our videos early, like the day before usually, if you want to check that out, or the podcast gets posted here early every week as well. You can see here. And then you can just find whatever version goes to your page here, and it'll let you see all of the exclusive videos. They're all pinned if you want to see all the previous ones, but that is an additional perk of being a sub or a member. Thank you guys for gifting those out to people. They should have never said the B word. Now the Gamer Bros are going to have a field day. They should have never said either of these words. He says they wanted to spend 2025 bringing the game to content complete, but did they? Confirm that, dude. New Atlantis. Thanks for joining us today, dude. For the record, your videos are the best of this game. Keep it up. Thank you, Morphex.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, dude. Much love. The channel in Discord is called Supporter Alerts. If you see supporters chat, you can ask there and they'll help you out. It includes Prime subs. Anybody with a sub, yeah. Hey, Immortal Fish.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Gifting at YouTube. What did we say? What did we talk about? Don't do this. Thank you, Fish. Oi. Gifting out the memberships, dude. Almost pushed us to the both goals for the day. Honestly, if we had hit it, I would say we'd start a giveaway, but we have one going on right now. Don't forget, if you guys want a Argo moth. What kind of a sound does a moth make? Just flaps, flapping noises. Enter the giveaway if you want one. Sorry, it was ridiculous. Okay, do you have any more questions on stuff going on here? I was going to jump into the Expanse news here at some point soon. Oh, I've just been recording. What have I been recording? Ashes of Creation stuff, I guess. He didn't say they wanted to, he said they did. Wait. Our focus throws. He said it's their focus. I want to believe it too. Genuinely, I do. I just like it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to accept it. Even if they were saying that the game's content complete 2 months before release, I would still be like, is it though? So I want to believe it too. I can't. What does it say that I can't trust their words? Like that's. I feel like it's either telling of them or me. I don't know. Who cares? I freaking hope the game comes out. That's all I can say. Note how I still haven't given you guys any sort of prediction for it. It's the most painful question that hangs in my mind nowadays. The Mothra sound? What is the Mothra sound? Mothra sound. Why does it sound like it's wind chimes on it? Okay, too cool. Totally. Yeah. That's the sound that the moth makes. I like that. Sound like a rabid deer. Tinfoil hat. Rockstar feels threatened by CIG and they're waiting for a Squadron 42 release date before they announce GTA same day. Did you imagine what's his name? Bobby Kotick? Is that Take-Two or is that EA? I can never keep up with which freaking millionaire or billionaire owns which company anymore. David Ismailer? Okay, cool. Can you imagine if David Ismailer came out and he was just like, yeah, we're kind of worried about Squadron 42, so we're just holding off. That'd be the biggest marketing boost to Squadron 42 they could ever imagine. Wait, Take-Two is... Kotick is Activision, that's right. Take-Two does publish Grand Theft Auto, right? Why doesn't that pop up here? I feel like... Yeah, it's a Take-Two game. That's insane that they put a game like BioShock here before Raw. I mean, I love BioShock. I would also... Oh, 2K. I'm an idiot. This is the guy I was thinking of. Strauss Zelnick, yeah. He would be the one who would be saying this. He's the one who's over Rockstar, or over Grand Theft Auto. That's why I didn't recognize the other guy's name. I was like, I don't know who this is, but okay. No, I'm thinking of Take-Two, not 2K. There's too many twos in these names, so I got thrown off there. But yeah, if this guy came out and said something about Squadron 42, I feel like they'd be good. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is like, what is Squadron 42? Exactly, though. Dude, if I was Chris, I'd be like, yeah. I'd call him up. Start some drama with Strauss Zelnick. Oh, we're totally going against you. He already started it, right? He said, oh, it's as big for me as Grand Theft Auto coming out. Like, he's already taken the baby steps there. That would be actually funny if it was because of that. They took it personally. Strauss is just like, Chris Roberts said that he thinks his game is going to match ours. So I'm waiting to see when his comes out. Somebody said there were some updates to the Moth. Updates to the Moth, baby. quick update on the current issues affecting the Argo Moth. Woo! Nico with the news. Is this thing getting updated in 4.6 or are we waiting for 4.7? Somebody named a lot of problems that people were having with the Moth, so Nico is giving some news. He said, everyone, quick news on the update with the Moth. Thanks for the reports here on Spectrum and the Issue Council. They've been very helpful. Some top issues currently are under investigation. It doesn't mean that other issues are not being investigated. These are currently the top reported issues. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Salvaging at incorrect rates. This is the biggest one, I think. They're currently reviewing the system. Not ejecting Argo containers once the filler is full. External cargo issues. Smaller ships unable to fracture larger ships. Floating assets besides the pilot and the co-pilot seat. Disintegration SFX persists. Bedlogging. Lights behavior. Fixed internally, they say, and expected in 4.7. These are following issues that are resolved internally and should be in the patch next month. This is so. It sounds like we're not getting any fixes to the Moth until 4.7 at the earliest, and this is what we'll be seeing. The Tolder filler station is smaller than intended. That's that 32 SCU buffer. Lost control when co-pilot is seated. This is a big one that we covered earlier today when it comes to multi-crew functionalities. Pilot seat scan does not work when another player is on the salvage turret seat, and the railings of the cargo bay have no collision. They say that we appreciate the patience while we work through these. A good number of the most disruptive issues are already resolved for 4.7, and we will continue to monitor new reports as they come in. So, some things getting fixed for 4.7, but the salvaging at incorrect rates not working, like this should be fixed in 4.6. This is a pretty... Who knows what the actual problem is that's causing this? It could be any number of things that depend on one another. I don't feel like freaking fix Spectrum, CIG. I'm so sick of authenticating. But it's pretty bad that this isn't going to be fixed until next month at the earliest. And it's not on the 4.7 fixed confirmed list yet. I'm sure they're going to try their hardest to get it through, but essentially, I think, if anything, people should not buy this ship until this is fixed. This is the kind of thing that should be hurting ship sales when they come out. You can't release a ship that literally is broken in the main way it's supposed to work. Jeez. So yeah, they're working at it, and we'll see when it gets fixed. Hopefully, the salvaging at incorrect rates one is at least one that gets confirmed for 4.7. But until then, these are the only ones we know of right now. Why did they stop testing new ships? I think this was probably a test to see if they could release ships in a certain new way. A little bit more surprise, right? It gets more money if it's more open to people and they have access to it. I do believe that a lot of the changes they've been making is because of that. The PTU cycles go so quickly because they realize if they keep things in PTU too long, the folks who get later PTU access, like open PTU access, they're not going to want to jump in. They will have watched other people have Wave 1 and Wave 2 access for 2 weeks. By the time it's open to them, they're like, I've seen the new stuff, I'll just keep playing live till it goes live. So CIG loses out on testing. I think that's why they've shortened their testing cycles in the PTU. I think they're trying to do the same thing with ship sales, but this did not work, and they should consider that, recalibrate, and not do this again. At the very least, have the ship be tested in Evocati so that you know these are problems before the ship goes live. Just rough, dude. Just like the Apollo ships, no drones or new gameplay. I wouldn't say it's the same way. I think this is doing something to enhance salvage. You are indeed getting a salvage ship with cargo storage for components and things you've pulled off. It can fracture ships and it can scrape ships, multiple at the same time. So this is a unique ship, and I think it brings some unique gameplay to salvaging. The Apollo, it's basically a larger Cutlass Red, and it didn't bring any missions with it either. They're bringing in new missions with the Moth. Besides the fact that the Moth itself is broken, I think this is a good ship release, and they did a good job of including it with some functionality with engineering and stuff like that, as well as some missions. But the fact that the ship's broke is pretty bad. How can it even happen that it's salvaging at an incorrect rate? If it's a new S2 scraper, then it should be in some Excel sheet with the other modules and easy to compare the numbers. I wouldn't claim to know. I don't. I have no idea. But it is very annoying. And the mission system is broken. That one I haven't experienced. That's too bad. Either way, there's some news on the Moth. Hopefully that gives you some good feelings. Just you know, I put out a video and I'm like, they're on a winning streak, but there are these little things that are definitely, they hurt that. Just a bad freaking look, dude. Totally not Mon Mothma. Launching a month after GTA 6 would be suicidal. Oof, yeah, oof, 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 yeah. A month after GTA 6 would be pretty freaking crazy, dude. Oh my god, is GTA Online coming out at the same time as GTA 6? Remember when they released the mining revamp and all the rocks were broken? The contract not being completed, so annoying when you... Oh, the contract not being completed. That's a favorite. At least it's a systemic problem. Those are the kinds of things that I'm really hopeful are done away with when they actually have the new mission system in the game. The kinds of things that it's not really worth fixing on the old system because you're bringing in all these different kinds of missions. GTA is going to console first. Yeah, but again, it's not about the gameplay. It's about the attention. It's about the advertising. It's about the cost. I'll tell you this. It's very, very noticeable how the changes in advertising amounts throughout the year. The second YouTube channel is it's getting the same amount of views as it did in November, but it's making probably around 20 to 30% less in ad revenue because advertising prices go up when more people want to advertise. GTA is going to advertise. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been like a clickbait article or something. Is it this one? Yeah. The CEO was saying, let's see, in an interview with the CNBC, he confirmed that the release of GTA 6 on November 19th, 2026 is not under threat. The marketing campaign will start this summer. Zelnick emphasizes the difference between awareness of the project and the energy that needs to be created around it. A lot of people are asking, why would GTA need to be advertised? Not understanding what advertising is about. It's not about making you see an ad and go out and buy something. It's about keeping you thinking about something. That's why somebody could pay me to have a freaking cup here on the camera and that's an ad. It's not like you're going to buy the cup because you see it here, but when you see that cup in the store, you're going to be like, hey, that's, I'm going to buy that. This is an ad. I don't get paid for it. Sure. Hit my people up. But them putting their logo on this is an ad. It gets you to think about the thing. So when you go and you shop for a microphone, you think, hey, I've seen Shure on streams. Must be good. I'll try it out. It's the same thing with GTA. It's not like a magic equation. Advertising is a business, but it ebbs and flows throughout the year. And it's definitely cheaper now than it will be whenever GTA starts advertising. He noted that promoting a game of this scale requires a delicate and authentic approach. This is not selling hamburgers. We are selling a universe that is a form of art. Who does that sound like? Who do you think he's going to be targeting with that kind of talk? The idea is for players to feel that the world of GTA 6 is real and belongs to them and is not just a product off the assembly line. It's also good to keep in mind that the idea of games has changed since GTA 5. Everybody wants to make the next Fortnite. The quote-unquote metaverse in the making, where people log in just because they want to be there. They want to live. They want to spend their time. All these business people can see that freaking children are asking for literal hacks for Christmas and shark bucks and in-game currencies. I did when I was younger. I wanted freaking FIFA Ultimate Team points when I was younger for Christmas. Hell yeah. So Strauss Zelnick is like, yeah, man, we're going to sell them the world. They're going to live in the world. This is a universe. I guarantee you GTA 6 is going to be hitting that same kind of advertising as Star Citizen. Come into this world, live in this fictional America, and interact with NPCs, follow storylines, build a reputation. Like, it's not going to be the sweaty little kid gank fest that GTA 5 Online is. They're going to try and make it so it's interesting to normal people, and people want to go spend their time in it. Doesn't matter if it's on console, if it's not in space, if it's, I don't know, talking about squid monkeys. It's going to be competing with Star Citizen and Squadron 42 and anything else that comes out this year for advertising. So yeah, you have to consider it. Capitalism. That old thing. Hell, let's like, you could even say that Squadron 42 and GTA 6 are both good candidates for a new video and secret level. If Amazon wants to do that, that's competition. YouTubers want likes, clicks, subscriptions, and engagement. They will ride GTA's coattails. Some will successfully use it to launch new careers. Hell yeah, bro. Check me out. I'm about to do my big transition from Star Citizen to GTA. You guys didn't know it, but that's my long-term game plan. This is it, actually. This is the start. Slowly diversifying. Interesting to say that about a game that is centered around crime. Yeah, dude. Crazy how things change. What was it? I just learned that the freaking company that made Slack started out as trying to make video games. Sometimes your true calling is somewhere else. You just gotta pivot. Chair is an important member of this. Listen, as soon as we reach this goal and I get the standing desk, Chair's out of here. He's gone. GTA Online is wildly successful. Yeah, I think they're just gonna build on that. Like, they want GTA Online to be something that normal people can come in and not think they're gonna die immediately. Which they might have fixed that with GTA Online. I don't have an up-to-date perspective on that game, I'll be honest. But I know that Mrs. Tomato tried playing it one time, and she got bullied for having a very feminine name. So they gotta try and figure stuff like that out. Personally, you doubt CIG has any intention to compete with other games upon release, and will just release it with backers the main priority. I certainly hope they have some strategy with their release. You want my your subs back if I do that? You don't want to ride the train? The Grand Theft Auto hype train? So you want PvE servers in GTA and SC? Yes. Separate us. Killer Tomato? No, it's got to be something a little more edgy, like Silent Tomato or something. Or like, the Groveling Tomat. No, I don't know. I haven't even beaten GTA 5 yet, story mode. In our family, that is definitely more of a Mrs. Tomato game. She freaking loves Grand Theft Auto. The two games that I know when I first met her she loved most were Grand Theft Auto and Mortal Kombat. So if the shooting me with the Nerf gun wasn't enough of a sign. Ferrister, dude, thanks for hanging out. I will catch you later, buddy. Have a lovely day. How will special quests like Rockbreaker work in order to keep you from not just spamming it nonstop? Well, it's like Hathor. You can spam it nonstop. But if you're spamming it nonstop, other people will probably notice. And they might start trying to take. Although, there is rumor that Rockcracker is going to have private versions that cost more to buy into. So, basically the answer is risk. They're going to have to build some kind of risk in to make sure you're not spamming it. Why would they want you to not do that? Yeah, if it fits into the economy, then there's no reason to not have people doing that. PvE makes the game more enjoyable. You never know when someone might attack, and that makes it more engaging and feels dangerous. Did you main PvP? I think they can still replicate that with PvE, and they should. They should be striving to. It'd be a very annoying game if the thought process was, as long as players aren't around, I'm safe. That's not what we want. Would love to see GTA game where you can drive from the new game to Los Santos. Well, how crazy would it be if Rockstar just combined all of their fictions? So they had like the Red Dead Redemption world that connected the bayou of Florida to the Louisiana part of Red Dead, over to the New Mexico part of Red Dead, and then the Los Santos part of Grand Theft Auto after that. Or you could drive up north and go to Liberty City. Sheesh, Rockstar really could make a big online world, couldn't they? You can't wait for Terra, so we can all choose to be safe or not. I wonder if Castra is going to be where they do that. If they will do that with Castra. Castra's such like a question mark. Because Terra is so... Terra. You know? You look at Terra, you're like... But Castra... They got good music, sure. And cool clouds. And a nice mountain. But what is it actually bringing to the game? Now, you could say the same thing about Terra, to be honest. I just feel like Castra offers them the opportunity to have higher security. And I'm not going to lie, I feel like they're going to drop the ball. I really wish that Castra comes in and by then we have a robust security system and everybody understands how the game works. Oh, I think there are some lovely GII folks in this video somewhere. I know there's a morph right there. CIG wants organic marketing through word of mouth, social media influencers, which is cheaper than traditional marketing, but that's exactly what GTA 6 will saturate. Bro, I'm so cheap. It's terrible, dude. I will talk about your game non-stop if it's a good space game. It's not high payment, and I'm ashamed of it. But at the same time, it's a lot of fun. And I don't have to follow anybody's rules. GTA 6 will basically suck all the oxygen out of the room. Yeah. Joke's on them, though. We can breathe helium. Just sounds funny. Actually, let's look at the Rockcracker real quick, since that actually is pretty relevant to what's going on this year. Anybody not know about Rockcracker? GIF folks behind a morph. Oh, really? I thought we were front row. Hey, were you at that one, PK? Only from your video. All right. Well, I'll let them talk about it. I think the biggest thing to remember here, though, is that there are rumors of a possible private version of this. So I'll let them play it a little bit here and talk about it. And then we will talk about kind of, here we go. Okay. Yeah, so I know we've gone over this already before. This is kind of for the people who are obviously new, but this is also a little chance for us to do like a definitive deep dive introduction. We're probably going to be playing this exact thing in a month, maybe 5-6 weeks. This is definitely coming in, well, it's tentatively coming in 4.7, but it's going to be the content of the patch. And Benoit, their CTO, said generally it's the features that are being driven by their development. Content is pretty tied in on where it's supposed to be. So this is likely our 4.7 main adventure. We're going to do a little deep dive into what it is. They're going to explain it to us. Then we're going to talk about it chat-wise, what we got to see. You were in that one, PK? Ava wasn't sitting with you guys. He really doesn't like us. Dang, Ava was there too. I got to go to a Manchester Citizen Con. I really do. You guys were all the freaking classics were there, huh? That was probably a good time. All right. Tell us about Rockcracker.
At the start of the show, we said we was going to build out the Nick system right in front of you after
You know what?
4.4 launch.
Let's do this the proper way. There we
We
go.
was going to build out the Nick system right in front of you after 4.4 launches next month. And while we want to keep as much of what we're doing behind closed doors, so you can discover it for yourself, in-game and on your own, we still are excited to share with you a brief look at one of our up-and-coming locations we're calling Rockcracker.
Yeah, see, like, they really get me with the art. CIG maybe should be an art book company as well at some point. I can't wait to have the concept art book for this game, actually. They draw me in with the art.
Okay, so Rockcracker, Jared,
Now keep me with the
is our
gameplay.
internal name.
Rockcracker is where you have to crack a rock. It's a
Okay,
big rock.
so the gameplay hits.
You
We're
want
good.
more?
So way out into the Kiga Belt, you'll find these old QV breaker stations.
That's the first thing. We got a new location right there that I actually keep forgetting is something they're bringing into the game specifically. Wowzers, almost just threw my tax documents out onto the freaking... I gotta be careful. They need to not open PDFs with the web browser. That's awful. That is the wrong arc. Whoopsies. Oh, we can keep that off. Here we have the ARC star map, which shows us everything in the Star Citizen universe location-wise. And I went into the full screen interface, so it stopped working. Try that again. Yeah, dude, I was doing taxes this weekend. Ugh. Like 2,000 plus lines of freaking Excel sheet to just go through and see what needed to be expensed. Totally not doing it year on year anymore. All right. So this is our game. The star map, honestly, I think is a little broken. It doesn't seem to work exactly right anymore. You can't, it's hard to select stuff. That might just be this browser or me. I might be dumb. But here, if I can click on this, we got the Nix system. Now, we already know that we're supposed to get Nix 1 and Nix 2. And we have Delamar, which is our lovely home as of right now, little asteroid in the Glacium ring. But there's a second ring in this star system called the Kiger Belt. And you have to zoom way out to see that. Way out here. Out near Nix 3, this belt is the far distance. Now, I don't know what this is. This map isn't necessarily represent the game 1-to-1. They change the size of these systems as they come in the game because people would hate their quantum travel distances. I know some of us would, but a lot of people would hate it, and at least right now they are shrinking the size of these systems. So I don't know if they're going to keep it like this, but I do feel like there's something to be said about the fact that the Keegar belt is so far out here. It adds to the idea that what we're mining is something that was abandoned, because it's just kind of a bitch to get out there. You don't want to fly out there. Most people don't. The population doesn't go out there. So they could really fit the idea of the Keegar belt and what is out here into the lore and make it feel actually different from the inner system, but we'll just have to see if they do that. It's always a bit of a toss-up with CIG and with the way they've been treating Nyx and Pyro. That sounds more like a kind of polished thing they'd do later. Either way, let's see what it has to show to us.
These were originally industrial facilities breaking apart large asteroids and mining them down. But since they've been mothballed and been left abandoned. So you're going to have to find your way inside and thinking about how do we bring this facility back to life. It's not just about flipping a switch. As you bring these stations back to life, you'll be lighting the beacon and calling attention to these long forgotten places.
I feel like you're going to have to actually be out there stalking these places if you actually want to get your attention called. Can you imagine being at Levski and being like, ooh, looks like a rock cracker station just got triggered 37 grandmothers out in the outer system. Let's go.
One of the main features is the laser head, which will require certain things to get working. It's up to you and your friends to find how to get in.
There'll be a variety of options. Whether you're discovering the bowels of the station and mining your way through long-forgotten tunnels, or you're going through the main laser entrance. Now, as you're traversing through the facility, you'll find the old engine room. Now, there may be ways to bring the facility back to life, kickstart the engines, and bring power to different parts of the facility. Maybe eventually bringing the laser back online and cracking some rocks.
Okay, so more rumor time. Sorry, this chocolate is so good. This is a sneak peek. Man, that's yummy. Sorry. This is a sneak peek from Star Citizen a couple months ago. I think December. And it was been pretty much decided, I think, by everybody that these are rock cracker parts. Mostly it is believed that these are the lenses
now
that come in the laser firing mechanism. So this, okay, now another sneak peek here. Or no, not sneak peek. Monthly report. I can't confirm whether or not this is rock cracker, but I'm leaning more and more towards this not being an ice cave and it being some segment of the rock cracker station that has been iced over and frozen. So between these two sneak peeks, we can see some of what the station's starting to offer and the fact that there are clearly different types of like biomes in these stations or locations that'll feel different. I'm betting we're going to have to move these ourselves with tractor beams. We'll also probably have to install batteries and move power around. So they're going to start to introduce some of the resource management network into space stations, which is a big part of the gameplay for Star Citizen going forward. And it's starting to look like there's, a good amount of actual gameplay that takes part here besides just go into place, find a key card and put it into a slot.
Or you're going through the main laser entrance. Now, as you're traversing through the facility, you'll find the old engine room. Now, there may be ways to bring the facility back to life, kickstart the engines, and bring power to different parts of the facility. Maybe eventually bringing the laser back online and cracking some rocks.
The secondary gameplay loop is FPS combat. You're not there by yourself.
There may
Always
be
gotta be some
squatters
combat.
and outlaws in these stations trying to stop you from what you want to do.
Gotta include that combat though.
So you found
90+% of play is solo. Let's ignore single player. Last year's nearly all content was PvP group. 90+%. You want to go with that? 90+% of what they added last year was PvP group content. That's a take.
these old facilities. You've brought them back to life. You've systematically brought power to various functions of the facility. You've activated the laser. You've fired the laser. You've broken apart the rock. And then you'll be able to fly your ship inside and see what's there.
So you fly a ship into an asteroid.
Yeah. You just get into your ship and fly in and start searching around and trying to find the pieces that you want to mine.
I'm really excited about Rock Cracker because it's a sandbox activity. You can kind of go to these whenever you want to.
This content is for players who enjoy mining, who enjoy exploration, investigation, and don't mind a little bit of FPS content while they're there.
I think they need to stick to that, dude. This really should be the kind of thing where you go in here to do this, and if you got like one person in your group who likes FPS, they can handle these things. The FPS should absolutely be an afterthought in this. This is a really good opportunity for them to give us some sandbox activity with some exploration, with some power management, with some mining, with like the incentive to work together with people.
And don't mind a little bit of FPS content while they're there.
It will be very new experience compared to any other asteroids because this one, kind of like Alan and mine, will crack open and show its secret.
And one presumes you can make a decent amount of scratch. Asteroid that's big enough you fly your spaceship into it.
It wouldn't be worth doing if you couldn't make a good amount of coin. Yeah.
Making promises for the econ team.
Yeah. They've got to balance it.
Yeah, he said it's like a line of mine. It's pretty much, this is Hathor, right? You come to an abandoned facility, just like with Hathor. You boot up the system and figure out the puzzles to make it work, just like with Hathor. You light up the laser, punch a hole open, just like with Hathor, and you get the stuff out from inside. It's not an event. It's not a contract. You don't take it and get guided somewhere. You come across this location. That probably means there will also be various like mercenary missions and stuff that go on around these locations too. But that hasn't been confirmed yet.
People who...
Yeah, and I do wonder what's gonna happen when you're done. Are they gonna... Is the asteroid gonna get changed? Are they just gonna reseal the asteroid and regenerate the resources? Probably, right?
It's for people who want a lot of minerals. When crafting comes in, when all the other mechanics and features that we want in the game for 1.0 come in, it'll be a place where like an organization or a group of like 5-6 people could come and just get a monumental amount of minerals.
Cool. So that so that's what we know about Rock Cracker so far, and most of the details, I would say. We'll cover more of it, I guess, when more information comes out in the next few weeks. Same as Hathor hole magically closes. I hate that, to be quite honest, but I understand it. You don't know where you got the idea, but you had it in your mind that the starting in the laser would make the site light up with a quantum beacon. It could. It could do something to attract other people there. How many of these stations do they got floating around out there in the Keeger Belt, dude? The next planet that's coming, is that going to be the final complete planet tech? Probably not. I don't think they'll ever stop working on it. It does seem like they're release-ready planet tech, like it's actually writing the rules to make things make sense, but I think they'll still probably iterate on it. I'm going to open the window. It's freaking hot. There's no way I'm going to be able to stream in here with the door closed in the summer. Wow, that's going to be interesting. Oh my god, it's hot. Basically having different groups. FPS group can make a mission out of it. Logistics, cargo, mining, squad grabs the stuff when it gets available and bails. Yeah, which I like that. I like cross-focus squads, I guess. Yeah, I guess the Keeker Belt would be huge at that distance, you're right. Arastra. I wonder, the Arastra could probably fit inside of that rock, huh? It looks like a really big hole.
Into an asteroid.
I mean, the asteroid itself is freaking massive, right?
Then you'd be able to fly.
Look at this. The asteroid is huge. So the hole is going to be big. So I bet you could fit an Arastra in there. Shepherd. What's up, dude? Tomat's in space, bro. Oops. Robert. Sorry if I just spoiled the news that Robert Duvall passed away to anybody who is a big fan. That picture implies that the mole fits inside. Yeah, I think the mole would definitely fit inside there. Nah, the Arastra's not nowhere near ready. I don't even think they're working on the Arastra. Would be cool though. Go find yourself a good window AC unit. Maybe. We have central air. Not sure if I really want to buy a whole extra window unit just for a couple months. You saw an interview with an astronaut that says his spacesuit sells like barbecue after spacewalking. Well, what did he eat? Barbecue tomato is great. Last year's content. What released last year? Wicklow. Ground and FPS mining update. Item recovery tier 0. Location repair missions. Align and mine. Animal population control. Hunt the Polaris. Space missions. Space training combat. A whole bunch of ships. Component balance repass. Sheesh. I feel like they got to do this again now with engineering. Honestly, not much of this is actually focused that much on groups. I would say it's just the Align and Mine and Hunt the Polaris stuff here. The animal population stuff, local missions, a lot of Wicklow's things. Not the best Wicklow things, I'll give you that. You got to do some hefty stuff to get the best Wicklow stuff. To be honest though, I found that trading with players is a pretty solid way to get Wikilo's requirements. People want to get stuff, so if you want Wikilo stuff and you don't want to do the work, making some money and paying people for it works too. But then with the inflation, everyone's asking for high prices. The combat missions, though, the item recovery, the mining improvements, I think those are all pretty focused on just general gameplay. The irradiated Valakar is definitely more group focused. I don't think I've seen anybody solo that, but maybe. Radiation gameplay, ASD, facility, Stormbreaker, resource drive, space combat missions. Oh, support ship. Yeah, so of this, I would say the ASD facilities and Valakar stuff was mostly the group-oriented things. Resource rush and the space combat stuff was the more kind of rest of the game. Yormondi, more kind of group-focused content, I'd say. Urgent Hush, have a good day, friend. I'll see you later. The ASD Onyx facilities, I think, are in here. Ship flight tuning, I don't even know what you call that. I guess light fighters are for solo players. Structural salvage update. Missile damage radius update. Onyx facilities. I think a majority of that stuff is more focused on the whole game, not just groups. The Yormondi, though, is more group. I think that feels a little more like a group. 4.4 Interstellar hauling missions, exterior freight elevators, Nix system, Delamar, Levski, QV logistics. That's more of a group kind of focus thing. Nix missions, coming with some courier missions and some investigation stuff. I'd say it's like half and half, probably. Stuff that's exclusive to groups, stuff that's focused on the whole game. I don't think there's been that much of a focus. The main things, like the main advertising points for each patch, tend to be easier for groups, that's for sure, and more focused on groups. But that's not the entirety of the content they're putting out every update. So it is easy to forget about these missions and things that they're adding. But I do think they're still doing a decent amount to continue supporting the entirety of the game and not just the groups. I think crafting also will go a long way to help with that. You need to find the items you don't mind finding, then using that to build the billions to buy the others. Right? You can solo the Apex Valakar, just takes like 45 minutes. Oh, well. In that case, a good chunk of gameplay. What are my thoughts on the Galaxy? Think it'll be worth it overall? I think the Galaxy is going to be a cool ship. It'll be outdone by other ships, but it's going to be super versatile. I love this song. I'm turning it up. I love this song. Not the entirety, just the majority. I don't even know if I agree with that, dude. Like, I kind of could see it. But even if it's the majority, I feel like it's like 55, maybe 60%. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to what everybody considers to be good for a group. But the missions that we get, I don't think there are any typical contracts we get that are meant to be done with groups except for the really big hauling missions. Like the combat, oh no, and the big combat missions. Once you get higher into the scale of the combat missions, they get to be bigger ships. But like the local site maintenance missions, you literally cannot do this with a group. And a majority of these combat missions they added, you can't either. It's just incredibly boring. You're going out and fighting like 2 light fighters or something. I actually feel like, if anything, the ball is dropped in that like the contract system can't support groups. It's awful how we can't get a reward correctly split between a group of 6, or scale the missions for it. Old ground citizen returning after a long hiatus. Is GII open to functional noobs? Absolutely, dude. The land of functional noobs. Join us. All of the event missions. I don't know. All of the event missions aren't group focused either. What are you talking about? They like make courier missions where you're only taking 2 pods. They're making cargo missions where you're carrying 5 pods. They're making defend ship missions where you're fighting off 2 or 3 people. I think they scale up to be more for groups. But everything that they've released so far seems like it has plenty of solo player focused. You're really saying the gigantic space worm box is a solo thing? I'm guessing you're talking to Grim, because I didn't say that. The group finder portion of the social system should fix that. There's another, that is something that would help with solo players a lot, is giving them a chance to team up. As much as people don't want solo focused gameplay, I feel like the idea of needing to haul cargo will be driven by other players. And it's always interesting to me whether people consider that to be multiplayer or single player. Like if you get a mission from a player to go pick up minerals from a base and take it to Lorville, is that considered solo gameplay or group gameplay? You think we're gonna get the Odin system before Terra? Well, but they just said that Terra was gonna be the 5th. I don't think Odin's in 1.0, dude. Everything in SC right now can be done solo or with another person. The environment can be a decent challenge for solo players with proper animals and environmental threads. The animal stuff is kind of sneaky. Slowly working in the animals, they're gonna have like harvestables that CIG could definitely put some importance on. You hope crafting in its future iterations will make hauling be more meaningful. You know, you'd give it a try if you knew it would actually help another player do a cool thing they want. How many of the things you just listed 50-50 solo group have you ever done solo personally? The things that I listed? I mean, of all the things from last year that I've done solo, I did save Stanton solo. I did supply or die solo. I've done contested zones solo. In this patch, I've hunted for Wicklow solo. I did ground mining and FPS stuff solo. I did the location repair stuff solo. I haven't done the sandbox activity solo for a line in mine. I've gone to the location solo, but I've definitely not run through that whole thing on my own. Hunt the Polaris. I don't think I even did anything in that. Space combat missions I've done solo. On this update, I did not do the Valacar solo, that's for sure. I haven't done any of the ASD stuff solo, except I went to loot the Pharaoh facilities. I did the resource drive stuff solo, the space combat missions solo. In 4.3, I did the Onyx facility solo. Structural salvage I did solo. Mission on locations, I mean, that's from Wicklow. That's not really, doesn't really count. I did a little bit of the Frontier Fighters stuff solo, but that was boring, so I stopped. And then in 4.4, I did the some of the QV logistics stuff solo, but that's mostly been group focused. And then the Nyx courier missions and stuff I've done solo. I think I've done most of what I've done over the last year solo, to be honest. 4.5. I mean, that was really the engineering patch, right? That's kind of give or take solo or joint if you want. I've done the resource gathering mission solo that they did here. Also did it in a group, and that was good fun. Rock Cracker I probably won't do solo. But yeah, I'd say there's stuff there that I definitely don't do solo, but there's plenty that I do. Completed those events solo? No, I didn't complete any events. I just take part in them. I never really get to the end. Neither of these I completed solo, no. But I don't think just because I didn't complete it solo doesn't mean that the gameplay doesn't exist for solo players. I do like Hathor and Onyx solo. Those are fun. Those are so fun, dude. Onyx is terrifying when you get to the lower levels. Actually, to the point where it's a little annoying. I wish we had better FPS awareness. Shep Hurd, thanks for the bits, dude. Hathor is actually really easy solo. The problem I find with Hathor is, like, you can be going around to all the facilities, but once somebody else comes in and realizes you're doing it, they can track you down. Fun to loot, though. Fun to just loot and pew-pew some enemies. Would be nice for SC to have that Odin system. Would not make sense to have the same planets in Squadron and SC. They would be different. It'll be cool when Odin comes in, yeah. Doing it in a group makes it more fun or just better gameplay wise? Yeah, it's definitely more fun in a group. So, I mean, maybe that's the people are saying they want content that is more fun to do solo than in a group. But I personally think that the mining and salvage stuff is better solo. Like the contracts they've been putting in. The Vandal Tech smuggling mission is pretty awesome solo. I don't know if I could do... yeah, I guess I could slow boat that one and do it solo. Definitely more challenging than Onyx. Yeah, the first planet in Nyx is supposed to come with Genesis, or Planet Tech V5 and Stark Attacked. That's what they said. Not about the gameplay exists and you can run it partly solo. If it takes a group to complete it, it's a group thing. I still don't think most of the things that have been released take a group to complete. Like, I'll give you the, what's it called? The Polaris, the Save Stanton, and the boss fights. So what, 4, 5 major editions of the year. The headline editions for sure. I still don't believe that that's the majority of what we got to do last year. But it's cool. That could be an agree to disagree kind of thing. I certainly think that solo gameplay is still getting focus, but they could always do more. I await seeing what crafting does for the sandbox and improving solo players' prospects and having some value and power in the economy. You were solo for years until you met your wife. Aw. I don't have an aw soundbite, so I'm just gonna use that one. I promise. Just replace that E with an A, though. It's the same word. They've also talked about how instancing of missions will make it scalable for party size. I actually forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. I don't know how, but they have been talking non-stop about instancing for the last year. People who are concerned with solo gameplay should probably take some comfort in that. They're very, very focused on making sure that we have pocketed. I mean, they made what, 200 Onyx facility locations just so that we wouldn't run into other players. We still did, but they're trying to, at the very least, please people who want less interaction with others. Do we have a guess around the first planet will arrive? Some people are guessing end of year. I think maybe this summer. You'd be very surprised if Odin is not after Terra. I'm sorry, I pulled up the planets and I never even played. I freaking pulled up those planets and I never played them for you guys.
In different places, you'll find... Welcome.
Nope. They actually haven't even talked about Terra. I think the only thing they really shared about Terra was... Yeah, it was here. It was the only thing that they said about Terra.
Situated along the former Perry Line, this was a key strategic system to launch an attack if the Cold War between the humans and the Xi'an ever escalated. So that's 4. Do you guys want to know 5? Yeah. We're finally doing it. Considered by many to be the new jewel of the Empire, Terra has been a shining star against the more imperialistic tendencies of Earth, even in the darkest days of the Messer regime. Now, many believe that Terra should be the new center of the UEE. I don't know how you all feel about that. Yeah, a lot of division. But that's our starting 5. Each system and each planet will be featuring the massive level of outposts, POIs, stations, biomes, and exploration options that we've been perfecting with Stanton and Pyro, and you've been seeing in some of the other presentations this weekend.
So that's all we know from Terra. They have not talked about it very much, so pretty assumed that it is still a ways off. They probably aren't even really working on it, except for some basic lore and narrative stuff. Castra is the real next step.
As the island in the sky. Sherman is currently in pre-production, but I wanted to take the opportunity to show at least a sneak peek. Let's take a look.
You know, sorry, that was really loud. I'm curious what's going on out here. Like, is this land off limits? Can I build a base out here? Can I throw up a little, like, missile turret here and just troll people? What happened to the rest of this planet? It's such a weird setup. Now, obviously this is just a pure hype video. Music is great, love some atmosphere, cool new location, we like visuals, it's great. But they still, I think they gotta do something to convince us what's actually gonna make this different. Pyro was obvious, Clearly it's different from Stanton. Nyx is a little bit of a central location in that, like, it's lawless, but it's not as dangerous as Pyro. Castra is supposed to be home of one of the biggest military bases, granted it's retired, in humanity, so I'm hopeful but not really expectant for them to do a significant amount of work to set this apart and make it feel like it's actually different from Stanton. After 1.0 and 42, they should consider hiring someone to make a movie. Yeah, definitely after the games. They need to finish Pyro. Wouldn't that be great? I think it's different simply for being the UEE Crown Jewel system. I think it'll get a lot of love. Terra? Yeah, Terra is deserves a lot of love. If we were gonna see Star Citizen like a feature film or a series or something, there are a few really good spots in the game's lore that they could do. I would say one of the best would be the second Tavaran War, which was the rise of the Messer regime, but that might be too expensive, too high budget to do a whole bunch of alien stuff. Maybe like the actual fall of the Messers is a good rebellion story, but nobody cares about a rebellion if you don't know the story first. So maybe early humanity unification wars? I think a movie about Squadron 42 would be kind of boring. And a movie about the Vanduul is again too much alien. Gotta be a little bit more grounded. Like, I think Andor does a good job of being a more grounded story in the Star Wars universe, for instance. So yeah, that's Castra. And Castra's cool because it's bringing in some new architecture. And again, higher security, but it's all lore and narrative up until now. So we'll see what happens there. But that's going to be the fourth one, and then Terra will be the fifth. And then who knows where we go after that. I would guess it'd be Odin, Vega, stuff like that. You want Jax McCleary back? Excuse me. They fund enough in 1 year to finance a big budget movie flick. Sci-fi flick, yeah, but can they hire the people to make it? Losing you a bit with all the systems supporting life. Well, technically Nyx doesn't support life. That's just us making it work. But yeah, Pyro Stanton, Nyx. Or Pyro Stanton and Castra. And Terra. Castra might be a terraformed system, actually. Yeah, they terraformed it. A lot of the systems in Star Citizen aren't originally life-supporting. They terraform a lot of planets in this lore. CIG will almost certainly produce a Messer-era single-player game. That would be cool. Squadron is supposed to be a trilogy, yeah. Terraformed for military use as a front base against the Xi'an. It's an easy cop-out. Why are there so many livable systems? Because we freaking changed them. Duh. Must be something of value to protect there. Maybe rare resources or a special kind of industry. It's a big military base because it was the front line against the Xi'an. And the Xi'an, when we first met them, were extremely terrifying and looked like they were going to kill us. Not as bad as the Tavaran, though. When we met the Tavaran, they literally did try to kill us. They actually, the first time they met us, they were like, pew pew. They didn't even wait. That was not a great story. Part of the Star Citizen lore is that we've been out terraforming planets to all these systems, yeah, for like hundreds of years. Needs hostile planets to justify vehicles and suits. We've got them. Pretty sure they actually talk about it in this. Yeah. They're hostile planets. Aberdeen's a hostile planet. Castor 1's a hostile planet. I believe Pyro 1 is a hostile planet. It's actually a hostile system with the whole freaking flare whenever they do that. Do I ever think they'll go back? I like this song too. Turn it up. If you've been watching the videos lately, you notice that I find new songs, get obsessed with them, put them in all the videos, and then put them into the regular rotation. I don't know if they'll ever go back to talking about 100 systems. I don't think so, no. You think they will... we turn them into a museum piece? Christopher Nolan for a film? Oh my god, dude. That'd be crazy. They're not building a tool like Genesis, optimized for very rapid reduction of high-quality planets just to deliver 5-star systems. True. True. Hundreds. So many, though. Does the UEE even have a friendly alien race? Well, yeah. Actually, most of the aliens like us. Sorry, I freaking love this song. This beat's so sick, dude. Get it! Okay. Star Citizen aliens. They're pretty cool with us, dude. I actually got a video here that describes them. If you want to watch this, it talks about all the alien species and their relationships with humans. But the Banu love us. They're pretty cool. As long as you trade with the Banu, they're fine. The Tavaran are down with us. Granted, it's because we kind of beat them back and subjugated them into being part of our own society. But that was their call. Okay? I'm not gonna justify genocide against the Tavaran, but I can't follow that up with a but. That's so messed up. But like, in reality, like I said, they attacked us and then we wiped them out. We didn't have to wipe them out. We could have stopped for sure. But the Tavaran that do still live, a lot of them are actually in human society in the UEE, while there is still, I think, a cell out there in space that hates humans. The Xi'an are also friendly with us. It's just that when we first met them, it was a little bit tough. And that was the case with almost everyone. The Banu, when we met them, were pretty cool. The Xi'an, when we met them... So the Banu, when we met them, we actually shot at them. But they're cool enough that we got over it. The Xi'an, when we met them, I believe one of our companies started terraforming one of their planets. And so they took them hostage, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah. So what happened was, like, a terraforming company went to try and terraform this random planet. And then it turned out that was a Xi'an planet. So they took all of them hostage and then contacted the UEE. And they were like, yo, we got your boys here. They're doing bad stuff. Take them back. And the UEE was like, ooh, it's going to look bad if we just, like, accept this defeat. And the Xi'an were also asking for the locations of all of our home planets, or all of our systems. So humans didn't want to do it, but also they had a bunch of our people hostage. So they had to let them go. And that did start off a Cold War, which is why we have Sherman. Because we literally needed this planet with these gigantic suborbital guns. You can see them out here somewhere. These massive suborbital guns you can see on, like, towers out here. And they were literally meant to be the first line of defense against the Xian, just in case they ever did attack us. And that was based around this line of systems. So here we've got all the human systems, and here we've got the Xian systems. And Castra.
Lands. Do you know that?
Castra's right here. So, like, we're good with the Xian. I mean, they even give us technology to use in MISC ships. We do a lot of trade with them, and we've learned a lot from them. Our corp was actually made in inspiration of Xian and how they build their planets. I think the whole series was also inspired by the Xian. But we had that kind of friction period. So we're doing okay with most of the aliens. The ones that really don't like us are the Vandal, and they don't like most people. The ones we don't know about are the Kurthak. We've had no human contact with the Kurthak. What we know about them only comes from the Xian, who have been enemies for 800 years. They've been fighting the Kurthak in what they call the Spirit Wars, which we have no idea what that is. The theory here, and this gets a little Mass Effect in vibes, but the theory is that the Kurthak are actually a robot species that the Xian made and then rebelled against them. And they are now fighting the Spirit Wars because, well, they believe that robots don't have spirits. The Kurthak are currently also fighting the Vandal, and thus pushing the Vandal back against us, which is why Squadron 42 occurs. This is super, super deep Star Citizen, practically tinfoil hat lore. It's not official. It's just theories and rumors, but they've left just enough little breadcrumbs here for us to kind of start connecting these dots. And I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't even know if the Kurthak are going to be in Star Citizen anytime soon. Yeah, the Vandal can't get enough of us, dude. We snuggle. We live for 300 years, so we don't mind negotiating over the hostages for like 2 years. Yeah, that would suck, dude. If you're like, we're gonna bluff the Xian, okay? We're gonna bluff them. And then the Xian are just like, we're still gonna be in our elected positions by the time you all die. So, okay. Yeah, typical sci-fi stuff. What is the strongest hint of them being like the Geth from ME? I would say calling it the Spirit Wars. I don't even think there's anything else here that would emphasize why it's called the Spirit Wars. Longest and most devastating conflict. The war ended years later in... Let's see. During Kurthak incursion in 1342, Emperor Lith Sejong and all of her house were exterminated. That sucks. The Xian Empire experienced a 152 interregnum called the Dark and fell back in pre-dynastic civil warlike conditions. Bro, they were going off. We're like still trying to figure out how to use oil. The war ended years... No, dude, 1342. We're like figuring out arts. The war ended years later, ending in a stalemate, and both sides cut and voided further contact. So they've stopped their long wars, I guess. Not really anything else that explains why they might be seen as the Geth. The Kurthak are peace-loving cucumber people like the Xian use in their salads, and they just don't want us to find out. Wait, so wouldn't that make the Xian not great? Little to no narrative for the systems in No Man's Sky. You can't speak for ED because you haven't played it much. Yeah, No Man's Sky has a lot of things going for it, but it's also missing a lot to keep you engaged. I could say about the same about Star Citizen, though. The Krell system is the home system of the Kurthak. I didn't know we knew that. Located on the opposite side of the Xian Empire with the United EE. They've yet to officially set foot in the Krell system. No formal interaction with the Kurthak, which is a traveling species. Okay, see, there's another thing that makes them seem more like the Geth. The Kurthak is a traveling species. The Xian, however, have had a tempestuous relationship with them for the last 700 years, ultimately culminating in a devastating century-long conflict loosely translated as the Spirit Wars. Advice for travelers seeking to visit the Krell is few and far between. It is entirely unknown what goods they might be interested in trading, what they produce natively, or which items they deem illegal. It's also unknown exactly how to reach them, or what reactions the Xian would have to human traversing their territory for the purpose of doing business with their ancient enemies. This could be an entire storyline in this game. Maybe not the main storyline, but this could easily be like a 10 to 20 hour storyline in the game that has you adventuring through uncharted, like a late stage story where you have to go out into alien systems for weeks on end and like make your way to the Kurthak home system to actually meet them and get things from them. And then you also have to, you can't do that until you have a bunch of reputation with the Xian. So first you have to do a bunch of missions for the Xian. Like, this could be a crazy huge just segment of gameplay. That'd be really cool. But this was also written in like 2013. Literally 2012. So anything can happen, but we'll see. A lot of the stuff from that time does pop back up in weird and different ways. Could the Spirit Wars have been Civil Wars? Maybe. Space games need a wall that players can't go beyond, but that doesn't feel too magic-y. Kurthak is likely the limiting factor for why we can't just jump 100 systems in a given direction. Maybe. Turns out they're actually a race of adorable space doggos. Aww. Good for you, Kurthak. That's a good evolutionary path. Do you think SC will develop faster now that Squadron is in a polished state? And or a polishing phase, and will there be better performance, not only CPU bound, but also utilize GPU more for balance? I think that there are several things that will lead to Star Citizen improving in its development. One of them is that Squadron is starting to wrap up in some ways. But another big one, I think, is the engine team seemingly getting a handle on the engine overall. Getting their rendering engine out means that they can focus a lot more on the unique little bits. Things like virtual reality, like frame generation, super resolution, better optimization, utilizing the GPU more. Stuff like that is, I believe, now a possibility for Ali and his team. Whereas before they were literally just trying to get the game to work from a rendering standpoint. Star systems don't need to immediately be differentiated. Systems can make them distinct enough to implement. True. You tell the story behind the Pirate Haven Spider and Cathcart? I actually don't know that one. That's one for your man Paul, the Astro historian. Ya boy. I gotta get him on the podcast. We haven't talked in a little bit. Maybe this is a bit of a Paul week. Getting pretty close to another lore deep dive. Spider is weird though. And I mean that both from our mod and this place called Spider. It's basically just a flotilla of dead ships. A safe haven for pirates. Which originally I was very, very excited for, but as time went on I realized it's just not going to happen anytime soon, if ever. I think Cathcart is actually, Cathcart's not too far away from us, I don't think. Cathcart connects to Hades. That's pretty crazy. Hades' system is terrifying. The Hades system is one of the more interesting ones in the game. This star system is where we stumbled into the system and discovered an existing civilization that had gone extinct. And all of their leftovers are all over these different planets, to the point where we can tell that they never made it out of the star system, but they became spacefaring and they spread across the system. And we can see huge damages to the different planets that show that they had a huge interspecies war. And something made them go extinct. And so there are rumors of seeing ghosts in Hades. You can go back and you can find the ruins and the artifacts and all that stuff. And part of me is like, man, this would be amazing to be in the game, but it's probably still so far away and we'll never see it. But the artifacts from this somehow are in the Pyro system. So they are trying to tie it in some way at least. I just don't know how yet. Hey, Zayeth in the chat. What's up, dude? Good to see you, my man. I saw you comment on the recent video. Glad you liked it, dude. Hope you've been well this year. Personally, you'd like if they just use the planet gen to make 100 planets. They then go through and polish them slowly over time. Yeah, dude, this is exploration content. People are like, how are they going to do exploration when we know all the systems? Because we don't actually know all the systems. But yeah, this is really cool. And again, it sounds like it's just far away in the distance, but if you look up the Star Citizen Hadesian artifact, you might recognize it. It's in the game. This is a video from K9. I don't mean a dog. A dog did not make this video. This is a Star Citizen player. But this is something that you can already find. Now, obviously, they just brought it in because it's interesting. It's easy to make an artifact out of, and they had the lore for it. But I do think that it's easy enough to start tying in stories to this. Obviously, adding value and introducing the lore of the Hades system helps to make it more real. And it means more likely that they'll go in that direction in the future. But yeah, this stuff is... There's a lot of cool lore for Star Citizen. It's just all buried in not the game. And anyways, the whole point of talking about this was because the Cathcart system connects to the Hades system, which has Spider, the giant pirate base. And I couldn't tell you how far either of these are from our systems. Let's see, Nexus connects to Ellis. There we go. And then Ellis connects to Stanton. No, Ellis connects to Magnus. Right? And then Magnus connects to Stanton. So there's your path to those systems. It's like 3, 4, 5 star systems outside of 1.0. Yeah, Nyx might be one planet at a time. We'll have to see. They have so much empty space they could use, they just don't. Fingers crossed with Starkitect, bro. But yeah, I hope we do get to see Hades. Listen, if you want to know more about the lore, guys, Star Citizen History of the Lore, there is a series by the Astro Historian. It starts with this episode here. That is not it. This is, what is that, Overwatch?
Lone figure.
I will advise you to watch this video and then watch every video after it. Your boy Astro Historian is big time Star Citizen creator. He's been doing it for a long time, much longer than me. Regular guest on the podcast, one of my best friends in the community. Super entertaining guy, and he's great at talking and narrating. He has this series, goes over the lore of Star Citizen, and it's where I've learned a lot of what I know. I listen to these videos far too often, and I would advise everybody does it if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Because it's almost as much fun as it is just waiting for the game to be finished, which is more fun than it is playing. Genesis is aimed for this year in some parts. The overall Genesis delivery is a lot more than what's coming this year. It's kind of like item recovery. It's coming in phases, and they're trying to do the first 2 phases this year. But we won't be getting all of it just yet. Imagine exploration will be similar to finding wormholes in Eve, random short-lived jump points that make contact. Connect systems, that would be 2 to 3 jumps. Leo, good to see you in the chat, dude. I think that's what most people want all of exploration to be. Or some people. In reality, I do think it is part of it, the transient jump point stuff. But a lot of it's just resource. When we actually see what Genesis and Architect can do, then we will know 100% what to expect long term. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Sometime this year. All right, y'all. I'm going to finish things up here. We are going to change flavors. I am very excited for The Expanse. I'm a huge Expanse fan. And the new game that they are working on is like an Expanse game with some Mass Effect vibes that dives into space RPG enough to give you the space feeling, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be so much that it's complicated and overblows the game. I'm going to play the soundtrack in the background of this because I freaking love it. This is a third-person RPG. And it's focused mainly on the same kinds of things you'd expect from like the Mass Effect games or the Starfield games, in that it is very character driven. So like for people who are watching this channel, we are very into systemic games in space. A lot of Star Citizen, plenty of Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, some other stuff like some people from Ashes of Creation come and check this stuff out. So this is a little bit of a different game, but honestly it's one of the ones that I come more from. I like to make dialogue choices, develop relationships, see party members, make decisions that actually have consequences. And supposedly in this game, you can actually get your party members killed. Very Mass Effect in vibes. So I'm going to read the introduction for you guys because I want to do a proper introduction to this game so we can move on and talk about the news whenever it comes out. It reads that this is a third-person sci-fi action RPG set in the universe of The Expanse, where the tenuous balance of power between Earth, Mars, and the Belt is on the brink of collapse, and trust is a scarce commodity. For those who don't know the universe, it is set kind of in our future, like a few hundred years, or a couple hundred years, 24th century. But it's not super high tech. It's very much struggling to live in space kind of vibes. Energy, oxygen, heat are all a premium, and politics are at the forefront. Most people know it for the game and the books though, and I can confirm this actually takes part during the Leviathan Wakes book, and I think the second book, which if you have not paid attention to that, is a terrible time for the Expanse universe. It's when Leviathan wakes, everything kind of goes terrible. And you, in this game, actually end up in the same place. Everything is going terrible at the same time that Holden does. Big surprise. I don't know if you meet him. They didn't necessarily say that. But they do a lot of discussion about this throughout the years. Like, some good details. I can actually pull up here. I could probably find it. They mention here about the ability to fly spaceships in this game. Here we go. In the Expanse, the ships are known for the flip and burn maneuver. To slow down, the ship needs to rotate 180 degrees and turn the engines on again. Even though you won't pilot Gemini directly, the way the ship moves through space will stay faithful to the show. So they don't actually, they straight up come out and say things like this that are pretty, I think, useful details of the game, but they say them in like Twitter posts and things that don't really get out. So you're not flying your ship in this game, but you're flying around on it, which is very Mass Effect. And somebody asks the question down here, even though we won't pilot the ship, can we still walk around it and interact with our crew? And they do answer yes. It's going to be your base in your home. You will be free to explore it between missions and chat with your crew. So again, very, very much like your typical RPG in this instance. But you can find other places where they start sharing some information. Talk about going to Mars. I know that there's a good one here somewhere. There we go. The asteroid belt is a region of solar system located between Mars and Jupiter. Asteroids vary in size from hundreds of kilometers to a dozen meters in diameter. In the Expanse Osiris Reborn, you will be able to explore not only human colonies on large asteroids, but old depleted mines on the smaller ones as well. We know about a couple of colonies in the asteroids there already, some of which you probably don't want to be to, but they released a video that actually shows...
Ground control to Private J. Says you daydreaming again?
They show some of the environments here.
See, so we just need to shoot a few more unlucky bastards and done. Us two merry mercs can finally have some shore leave. Where are you hoping we dock? How about Ganymede? Fresh veggies from the domes, no damn tube protein, and some
So it's on Mars, I believe, right? No, Ganymede is one of the moons. But the other locations, a lot of, I think Phoebe is an asteroid place and Eros is an asteroid. So those are probably two of the places they're talking about.
Other options? Ceres? Might look a bit grim sometimes. And OPA extremists are working overtime to set the station on fire. But it is the largest port in the belt, with a bar guide the size of the UNN's desk jockey manual. You told me you were tired of bars just yesterday.
They're literally just telling us what the locations in the game are in this video.
I'm tired of drinking with Luciana.
Oh, Phoebe's the moon too.
She remembers too much and me
Eros and Ceres,
too
right?
little. Forget Ceres then.
Don't say it.
My suggestion?
Don't say it.
Eros.
So, that's setting up the stage for the game. Again, if you follow the series, you know that's not a good place to start. I'm going to be honest, dude. I don't think the show does enough to sell just how bad the situation at Eros is. It's so bad. It's like one of the worst things I think I've ever heard of people doing to people. And I'm wondering how they're going to show that in the game. But it's clearly going to be a pretty intense time. Now, a lot of folks are probably wondering who's making this game. Owlcat Studios is well known for their RPGs, primarily their CRPGs. They've made games like Road Trader in the Warhammer 40k series. I think they made a Pathfinder game, if I'm not mistaken. But they are very well known for their writing particularly. So when it comes to this sort of a project that's not just whether or not it's going to be a fun game, it's is the writing and characters going to be good? That's actually the strength of this company. So we're more looking at this from a perspective of, is this going to be a good action adventure game, because they usually make CRPGs. And I don't know, it sounds like they've got some good ideas here in terms of the amount of risk they want to be in the game, the environments that you're visiting, the story and how the importance of it plays out. And bringing space to life, man. They actually talk a lot about how they're trying to make it feel spacey, even if it's still not quite that deep in space sim territory. And yeah, they actually have a book. There's a book, a novel, a full-on novel written by a pretty famous author. I think it's a series. But yeah, listen to this little interview they had where they talk about some of the challenges of this specific type of games development.
One of the biggest fears of an astronaut doing extravehicular activity, or EVA, is somehow becoming detached and floating away.
Sorry. Jump scare.
Hi, I'm Leroy Chow. I'm a former NASA astronaut and ISS commander. Owlcat Games asked me to help.
Pretty sure it's self. Wait, who's publishing? I believe it's Alcon. No, Alcon's not a publisher, right? They're just the studio that owns the rights. No, I think the Owlcat is publishing themselves.
Help them to create what it's like to live and work in space. And then it's really a challenge to take that experience and make it into a realistic game. And that's where their team stepped in.
We wanted to strike the right balance, realism grounded in science fiction, not simulation.
During real spacewalks, we actually use tethers to keep ourselves attached to the vehicle. In a reactive game, that would be too clumsy. And so mag boots is a creative way to kind of compromise.
Bro, the fact that they're bringing them... They couldn't make this game without the mag boots, right? It's such a perfect IP to make for a space game. It's literally, I think we were talking about this maybe 3 or 4 years ago. There is no better IP to make a space game out of. It's got the hype from other types of media. It's got the political intrigue to make it interesting to people who aren't just there for space. It's got the action. It's got mystery, aliens, freaking different locations, tons of diversity. Like, it's just a really good opportunity to make a space game that people will actually enjoy. And the universe was originally built to be a game. Come on. We just returning home.
And keep it realistic, but also be able to be reactive. But the fear is the same, becoming detached somehow and drifting away. And that's just one example.
I like that detail of how weird they feel.
And drifting away. Whoa! And that's just one example. Even firearms would behave differently in space. Recoil and ballistics.
The particle effects, though.
And that's just one example. Even firearms would behave differently in space. Recoil and ballistics would also be different.
Jesus.
People think...
Dude, was that an arm?
Space. Recoil and ballistics would also be different.
No, I think it's just... I thought his freaking arm was flying off of here. It's like, what are you shooting?
People think about space as silent, but silence can mean danger. For example, inside of the spacesuit, there's a steady hum of the fan that's blowing oxygen over your face. The people at Owlcat Games did some research and figured out that vibrations caused by shots inside of a vehicle would translate to the hull and likely be felt through the mag boots.
We love the idea, but have to adapt.
Love detail.
Realism would mean almost no sound in combat. No vacuum, you hear more than astronauts do, but far less than in atmosphere. What you hear is what your character feels. Breath, comes, vibrations. The tension stays, and so does the fear.
I think that was the first audio I've heard of the gameplay so far. Sounds a little bit like the timing was off. Dude, it really does. I mean, I know that it gets a little annoying and cliche to say it looks like Mass Effect so often, but that over-the-shoulder sort of look in a space and sci-fi environment, it's hard not to remember that. And this even looks like one of these stupid Geth snipers that I hated. Ouch.
The mission crews train for months, even years together. The commander is chosen first and sets the tone. Just like in the game, trust takes time and shared experience.
The ship is crew's home. To craft the right atmosphere, we focus on the smallest of details. Life in space changes tastes. Astronauts often crave spices just to feel such sensations again. On Pink, water meals created from what could actually be grown in orbit. And in the same spirit, you'll even hear your companions discussing food and ingredients on the ship.
I think this stuff's important.
We hope that our approach to blending realism with gameplay considerations will make players experience something engaging and truly immersive.
Dude. Love the original sound, like theme song for the show is really good, but that's a good main theme for the game they've got there too. So this was like a dive into it. I didn't want to get crazy into the details. There are a lot of details, but it's best to know that this is a third-person RPG. You get character customization. When you do, you get a sibling. I think it's a sibling. Who joins you in the battle. They have their own characterizations and personality. You also have party members who are in your group, and many of them will be romanceable. Here are two that they announced the other day. Zafar, who says space doesn't seem so vast when you're around. Aww. Gross, Zafar. And Regina, who says you are the only target I always miss. I'll take that one. It's actually pretty good. So they've got... I'll give that a like. So party members, social environments in your spaceship as the home base, You got different locations you're flying to with your spaceship. You're not flying the spaceship, but you're living inside of it. Obviously, they want to focus somewhat on the immersion and the complications of space life. So they're building in like specific ingredients, zero-G combat, mag boots. I think it's a really nice, casual, single-player experience for players who are interested in space stuff. There's a couple additional details here and there, but as I said, I'm not going to touch on everything. S.A. Corey, they gave out a little statement about the game as well. These are the people who wrote the original book. They don't have any power to approve or deny a video game, but they were approached as a courtesy for this one and did talk to the studio mostly in the early ages of production. They are not hands-on in this project at all, but seem to have a broad stroke idea of what to expect and seem to approve. One of them is a gamer and was very happy to hear which studio will be developing the game. He liked their past games and specifically said their writing is usually good. So one of the authors of The Expanse likes the writing of the people who are taking on the game for The Expanse. That's good. They also said there might be someone from the show's writing room taking part in the game, but we're not certain. They said they're looking forward to play. So, best thing to take away from all this, if you want a sci-fi lore or realm to be involved in, an IP to follow. I know as I was growing up, for me, a lot of it was Halo. For a lot of people, it was Star Wars. You kind of find something to latch onto. For many of us, it's probably Star Citizen, but The Expanse, I think, is a solid place to put, a couple of your marbles. They're making games, they're making shows, they're making books. There's clearly a huge community, so I think this is going to pick up and keep going over the years. Telltale also made a game a couple years ago for this. This is not the last we're going to see of The Expanse, I think, and I hope this game pops off because maybe somebody will pick the show back up too. Either way, this has been a bit of a look into a Expanse Osiris Reborn. I'm happy to be done with this introductory because from now on, we're just going to tackle the news as it comes, and I'm going to make it a regular thing to cover on the channel. Yay, dude! Who's not excited for that? It's freaking Expanse! But I'm not. Like I said, this is just in a transition as I switch from being a Star Citizen creator fully over to being a Grand Theft Auto creator. Sorry about it. It's like Mass Effect, but no blue aliens to romance. You don't know that yet. You don't know what they're doing with aliens in this game. The garden expands, dude. The garden grows. Spread them roots, y'all. Hey, Dead Set, thank you for the sub, bro. 60 months Dead Set's been... Holy bro. Jesus. We need to start getting something to send out for these. I keep saying that. Mrs. Tomato, can we write that down? God bless you, Dead Set. Thank you for being here for 60 months, dude. How are we doing tonight? I remember discovering The Expanse a year or so back and binging it within a week. Yeah, it's one of those shows. It's a really good one. Thanks for dropping by, bro. I appreciate you. I'm glad you've enjoyed the stream for this long and we haven't gone completely off the rails. We'll keep going as long as we can. Just like Release Squadron, CIG. As you understand it, Alcon's rights are up this year. Really? Ooh. But who would we even want to get those rights, man? I don't even know. Just realized 60 months, that's 5 years. 5 years, dude. Yeah, there's definitely got to be something for that. I got to figure out. Hold on, I'm going to write that down just to make sure I don't forget that. That's amazing, dude. How you been? How you been this year? You love that SC gets some competition. It might be healthy for the project. I don't think this is really competition for SC. If anything, this will be better for SC. This is going to bring people into the genre. You know how many people like sci-fi stuff who don't play sci-fi games because there just aren't enough? This is going to be... Not saying that you're wrong in that this improves the genre itself, but I'm really excited to see who we are talking to in the Star Citizen community a year and a half from now because of this game. You understand why they did mag boots for the show? Because zero-G filming is impossible, but you kind of hope the game would be more zero-G. Is the, I hope you can turn them on and off, right? Any place that you can use mag boots, I hope there would still be zero-G gameplay. Were they not in the books? Now that I think about it, I don't know if I remember them talking about mag boots in the books. What a great time to be a space nerd. You're not wrong about that, dude. It's freaking fantastic time to be a space nerd. It's so good. Life's pretty good right now, enjoying work to an extent, relaxing at home, enjoying yourself. Hell yeah, dead set. You just can't wait to get more active into SC again. Every time you try, it's just a tad too painful. I hear you, dude. We're waiting for you whenever you're ready to come back. Some good stuff happening right now. The mag books were in the boots. Cool. I don't know why I don't remember that. I'm like actively listening through Leviathan Wakes right now in audiobook, and I do not recall it for some reason. From what you understand, the show isn't done. They're just trying to figure out how to manage the time skip between books 6 and 7. I thought that Amazon was kind of done with it. I hope somebody will pick it up after that, but I thought Amazon was moving along. Will there be pets? Yeah, dude, it's called Other Star Citizen. People that you find, you just trap them. Whoa! Wow! This page is always so much different when I go into just chatting to Raid instead of Star Citizen. Let us... I'm going to throw you all back over to Star Citizen, actually. Yeah, we gonna be raiding. What SCS update are we expecting soon? 4.7 next month. You've been checking out No Man's Sky? That's been pretty good. That's a good one to try out. You believe Alcon loses the rights this year or so, which would open the door for another show? We'll see. I hope so. All right, y'all. I'm going to send you all over to Detox. Thank you so much for being phenomenal people. You're the best chat a person could ask for. Cheers to you all. Thank you for the good blessings on becoming a father. We are absolutely over the freaking moon. Like you have no idea. Overjoyed to join the League of Space Dads and get to talk to you guys about, like, kids and stuff, you know? It's crazy. When I started, I was talking to people about their kids and, like, because I was their kids' age, but now I'm going to talk about kids with people with kids, and it's phenomenal. We got good stuff going on, guys. Keep an eye out for the VR video coming out later this week. I'll show you what it looks like for somebody with a more middle to middle upper end PC like my own, whether Star Citizen is worth getting VR for or not. You can check out the latest one, which will give you an update on what's going on in the game for 6, for 7, and beyond. And besides that, I'll be back on Wednesday to talk to you guys. Actually, I'll probably play the game, but also to talk to you about fun things. You know, fun things are fun. Good things are good. All things are all. I appreciate you all for being here. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Eat something you love today. Do something with somebody you love. You know, treat yourselves well. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. Thanks again. Have a good one.